Good morning. Hello, hello. Good morning. Hello, everyone. It's me, Maxi, your navigator. Good morning, everyone. It's almost 11 a.m. in sunny, heat wavy California. How are you doing today? Hello, it's me. It's warm. It's warm. My name is Dr. Worm. Good morning, how are you? I'm Dr. Worm. Fellas, I'm feeling very silly today. And I'm getting all the silliness out because we have a day of work ahead of us today. Also, I realized that I never actually made the image for the schedule today. I gotta do that. Because this is a very important week. Hi Dale, hi Dallas. Hello, hello. Where is it? There it is.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
As for what's happening this week, by the way, today I'm working on the novel, as you could expect. Tomorrow I'm doing Dark Souls with Nomia. Thursday I am doing Shenanigans with Plakesworth. Siska's taking the week off, so no Elden Ring, but we'll figure out something stupid to do instead. Friday, I'm gonna start checking out some spooky games for Halloween, and I'll be unveiling my Halloween model. That's right, no Halloween model today. You'll see it on Friday, though. And on Saturday, my wife has been wanting me to play Silent Hill 2 for ages. So guess what? I'm finally checking out Silent Hill 2. I'll be playing that with my wife every weekend during October. There you go. That's the plan. Other than that, I've been tired as hell. I had a really busy weekend. I had to do social things. I had to be social. It's not that I despise being social. It's just, it's exhausting for me, But hey, here I am once again. I'm torn to pieces. Here I am once again, coming to you live from the bottom of your bedroom. Hello, it's me. And today we're gonna do some writing. And by writing, I mean editing, which is part of writing. It's part of the umbrella term of making a novel, And that's it. I have big plans. Oh my god, hell yeah. Dale got quote 691, 691. It's me. I'm the cilantro slut. It's me. That's true. I said that. I said that this year. It's true. That's me. But how y'all doing? What have you all been up to? The weekend was, again, very tiring for me. Had streams. I had a bunch of role-playing. Because I went from having no campaigns. I went from having no campaigns and no bitches to now having too many campaigns and no bitches. Maxi, you're married. I know, but I can't call my wife that. What the hell? What do you think is going on here? Anyways, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Between the Skies has been a great solo book. Ooh. Also, hi Alex. Hello.
Welcome back.
How you doing, Alex? Exciting, Dale. Hell yeah, let's go. And as I mentioned, the plan for today is really simple. I'm going to be editing my latest book, psychological horror novel titled Memory Leak. And other than that, I'm thinking probably at around 1:30. If you want to know what time 1:30 means for me, look at the top right corner of this video. There's my real-time clock right there. At 1:30, we'll probably do dailies. I'm pretty sure we'll do dailies, But that's it. I've been editing the book off screen. Haven't made as much progress as I would like, but you know what? That's the thing, right? Oh no, I haven't made as much progress. Okay, just make more progress today. That's it. That's all there's to it. You can't linger on what you didn't do yesterday. Focus on what you can do today. Oh my god, I'm so inspirational. And it's already 11 a.m. in Southern California. Let's go! At the count of 3, 2, 1. Boop! Hello, everyone. It's me, Maxi. Oh, spooky music for today. I forgot, by the way. I forgot that I wrote this book to the Cultist Simulator soundtrack. I was looking through my playlist looking for something to listen to while I was editing, and I found that I had already made a playlist. So, you know. Shoutouts to Past Max for doing the work for me. Thank you. So we'll be listening to the soundtrack for Cultist Simulator. If it proves to be too distracting, tell me. Hell yeah! Exciting, Alex. Alex is also working on his book. Hell yeah. Exciting. Wishing you the best. And in case you're wondering where we are, we're literally like a few paragraphs left in episode 2. Does that mean... But Maxi, that means I missed part of what happened. You're gonna have to read the book to find out what happened in between. That's just life, baby. And now, if you excuse me, I'm going to clear my throat and then we'll begin the show proper. Alright. Perfect. There we go. Fucking love the soundtrack. I might lower it just a little bit. I want it to be in the background more than anything else. So, fellas, I don't know what else to tell you, but I am excited to work today. I already told you what my schedule is gonna be. I might refresh what the schedule for the week is like halfway through the show, but other than that, honestly, I'm looking forward to jumping into work. So I think we might just do that. So I'll greet people as they come in, and I think we're just gonna jump in. So welcome to what the stream is gonna be. I'm going to be reading and making edits on my book, Memory Leak, and that's it. That's the plan for today. At least for the first 2.5 hours. And that's it. In between breaks, I'll, if you wanna... Oh, what was Friday again? Friday, I'm playing spooky video games on Friday. Thank you for asking, Dale. I'm playing spooky games on Friday, and my wife and I, we're starting our playthrough of Silent Hill 2 for the PS2 on Saturday. Same bad time, same bad channel. Alright, and I already have the timer going. So, give me a timer for 25 minutes, and let's just, dive right in. Let's just go. Adrian ground his teeth. Finally, they had something. They had a home, they had a business, they had a shred of success, a shred of a safety net. At last, they could make art without starving, without losing their minds trying to pay the bills. And now this. The dark thoughts of his youth, the depression that almost claimed him. The memory loss had let it in, broken his defenses. The walls were breached, and the worst was yet to come. Because there was no such thing as demons or the devil. There were just people. Fallible people, mortals. People who lived and always died. My wife just texted me. I was petting a dog. Sorry, have a good stream. No worries. Oh my god, love you, kitty. There were just people, fallible people, mortals. People who lived and always died. It didn't matter if they were successful, in their prime, broken beyond despair, or just trying to find meaning in this endless flurry of emotions. No. In the end, everything always goes to shit. Beyond the windows of their bedroom, the light of morning peered in. They had lost track of the night again and soon would lose track... They had lost track of the night again, and soon they would lose track... They had lost track of the... Ooh. Also, I pressed a button that brought up the nerd panel. There we go. Huh. So this sentence here is definitely sticky. Where is it? They had lost track of the night again, and soon would lose track again. Okay, well, definitely, this is definitely another way that I want it to be phrased. Beyond the windows of their bedroom, the light of morning peered in. They had lost track of the night. And would soon lose track of the day. Again and again. If these blackouts didn't stop, he was about to lose track of his life altogether. Adrian looked around the room, searching for proof that he wasn't losing his mind, that these blackouts were not happening, but they were. The only thing he found was a reminder of what was at stake. There, on his barren bookshelf, was a trophy made of glass panes poking at odd angles. This was their Game of the Year award for King Lear. The proof that this was not a dream. The little indie studio had gone up against the Goliaths of the gaming industry and won. That hat is not required right there. It was the reason everything else happened. The success, the house, this moment. And now there was a chance they might lose everything. And not even know it. Adrian reached to touch Ava's skin, to feel her and know she was real. He was afraid. He didn't want to be alone. He didn't want to forget this moment. His fingers were about to make contact with her soft skin. When he blinked his eyes and found himself somewhere else. He was at his office typing away, writing a passage of prose he did not remember. He blinked his eyes. Did the light of the window outside his office change? Hadn't it been midday just a moment before? But the room was now dark. His body ached. He was hungry and tired. And the day was through. And the day was through once again. And once again, the day was through. I prefer the other way around. And once again, the day was through. Adrian sat in his chair, tears welling in his eyes. He tried not to blink. He tried not to lose track of time. But soon his eyelashes made contact. A tear rolled down his face, and then it was gone. Then he was somewhere else, doing something else, and whatever had happened in between. No, then he was somewhere else, doing something else. His cheeks dried. His cheeks dried. That he was okay, we're gonna do periods instead. Then he was something else. So he was somewhere else, doing something else. His cheeks dried. That tear forgotten. That, that. I'm looking for a word. Helpless. That helpless tear erased from existence. Whatever had happened in between was gone. Everything that happened in between was gone. His cheeks dried. That helpless tear erased from existence. And whatever had happened in between those moments, and whatever had happened in between those points in time was gone. Erased like so many footprints in the sand. Let's go with that. That feels nice. I like that. And with that, that's episode 2, baby. Let's go to the top. We're gonna collapse episode 2. We're opening episode 3, by the way. Where's my chapstick? I can already tell my lips are gonna get dry as hell just talking into the mic for 3 hours. Where did I put my chapstick? That is not chapstick. That is not chapstick either. What flavor is it? I don't really care about the flavor so much, but Kitty got it for me. Oh, I found it. It is, let me check the back of it. It is mint mocha, allegedly. If you had asked me 5 minutes ago to tell you what flavor it was, I could not have told you. It's those that they come in like a little round container. I don't know how I feel about the round container. I mean, it's nice. It's got a little silly face on it. Anyways. Episode 3, Cold Open. Casey got up from her desk, as though tearing a band-aid off in one motion. She felt a jolt of pain shoot across her body. A reminder that she was more than just a pair of hands that worked at a keyboard. I prefer that better. She was exhausted. She'd been working on sound effects all day. A task she found more boring than anything else. Wow. A task she found boring unlike anything else. I'm gonna leave this in here, and if Kitty says it's gone, it's gone. At least it was over for now. She was truly looking forward to getting some food in her stomach and maybe a little time scrolling on her phone. She got out of her office and began walking up the steps to the first floor when she smelled something odd in the air. Oh, it's this chapter! Smoke. Her mind jumped to a terrifying conclusion. Casey ran down the corridor, passing door after door, chasing the smell of the smell of smoke. She might have been running towards the source, but in her mind she was running away from her thoughts. She fought against picturing the worst. Their house caught in flames, and Casey forced to make a terrible choice. Did she get out of the house first? Did she attempt to look for the others? Just the mere implication that she would have to choose forced ice into her veins. Ice spikes into her veins. She didn't want to choose. Ice spikes? I don't know if I like ice spikes. Yo, hi May, how you doing today?
Welcome back.
May says, I'm awake, I swear. I hope everyone had a good September and has a better October. Hell yeah. Honestly, September flew by, but it's the spooky months, and I'm excited for that. I hope you're doing good, May. Love you. She didn't want to choose. She didn't want to even consider the possibility. Yo, hell yeah, exciting! May says, there's something about October that always swaps my brain into writing mode. I love that. Again, for me, once the weather gets cold again, once autumn sneaks in and all of summer is gone, that's when I get the most productive. She didn't want to choose. She didn't want to even consider the possibility, and yet the thoughts chased after her as the smoke appeared in her vision. Suddenly, she began paging through her mental encyclopedia. Did she even know what to do during a fire? Wasn't she supposed to call for help first? Casey had been a resident of California all her life. She knew that once a house as old as this one caught fire, there was no stopping it, and little chance that the people inside would be helped. This seems like a semicolon to me. Their house was so damn big too. I don't feel like we need that too. The thing that can be on italicized. How was she going to find them? What if they were on the higher floors? There was no way she would have the time to look. The fire would beat her to it. The fire would take everything from her. Casey ran towards the smoke. She hoped against reason that this was all just something other than fire. She saw the source of the smoke coming from the dining room, then the kitchen. Her heart thumped inside her chest, pushing icy blood into her body. Let's go with cold blood into her body since we used ice earlier in the scene. She swatted at the air, pushing the smoke out of her eyes. It wasn't as thick as she had thought. It couldn't be a house fire. She told herself, she hoped over and over that it wasn't a full-on house fire. Casey stepped into the kitchen, searching for the sight of flames claiming the wooden flesh of their home. She found none. At least, none other than the little blue flames on the stove. There was a pan on the fire, its contents scorched and smoking. She killed the fire. She turned off the stove. That's better. She turned off the stove and moved the pan to another burner. She turned the stove fan on and watched the trains. The trains? What did I mean by this? She turned the stove fan on. Now, what do you call it? The overhead fan? The overhead fan? I'm gonna look up what do you call the... Okay. What do you call the fan above a stove? The kitchen hood! I love that it took me as long to find out as for Dallas to type it. Thank you, Dallas! She turned on the hood. She turned the hood fan on and watched the trains of gray smoke. I don't know if I like trains. Let's go with threats. The threats of gray smoke ascend up and out of view. She then looked at the smoke detector right above the stove. That silver circle rested on the wall as quiet as ever, blinking its little red light on and off. Me looking up architectural terms. Oh my god, Alex. Yo! Hi, Ronnie!
Hey, bud.
How you doing, Ronnie? I'm editing my book today. You had one job, Casey said to the inanimate object. She then turned around, trying to make sure she hadn't missed anything. Was this really it? Was the pan the source of all that smoke? No matter how hard she looked, there was no fire. This ought to have brought her relief to her, but it didn't. The fear of what could have been clung to her like a shadow. She allowed herself a moment to ease the weight on her shoulders. She closed her eyes. Casey felt her lips form into a smile. She felt so silly. She hadn't ever been worried about the house, about all their belongings, about all the hard work on their next game. None of that stuff even came to mind. All she cared about was them. She might have even dashed into the fire for them. She might have even sacrificed herself so they would make it out. At least there was no fire. At least she wasn't as shallow as she thought. Casey sighed, then took a deep breath, and tasted something bitter and sour on the back of her tongue. She felt the mechanism of her mouth trigger like a gun, and she stopped herself from gagging. There was something awful in the kitchen. With the smoke gone, it didn't take her long to figure out what it was. There was food on the counter. There was a piece of meat on the cutting board, some veggies, and other ingredients for a quick stir fry. Except they didn't look right. They didn't look right. They didn't look right. I don't know about this line here, except there was something off about them. Chuck Tingle mentioned, how dare you? Pounded in the butt. Dallas, pounded in the buttress by fire, a Chuck Tingle novel of Notre Dame. How dare you? Except it didn't look right. It didn't look quite right. I'm gonna go with quite right here. Casey took a step towards the counter, already fighting off the next wave of disgust. She picked up the cutting board and held it as far away from herself as possible, and dumped it all into the trash can. She couldn't even look at it. Look at it. It was so gross. It was so gross. Had the meat really been gray and slimy? The vegetables had been browned and glossy. It didn't make sense. Casey felt the need to check to make sure she wasn't seeing things, and so she opened the trash can and peered in. She let curiosity guide her, pull her towards the edge. Casey gagged again. She pressed a hand against her mouth and nose, keeping any more sensory data from corrupting her brain. How did it get so bad? That food was rotten. And what about the pan? Who left it on the heat? The whole house could have burned down, Casey muttered under her breath, her own words growing hot. Out of the two of them, only one knew how to cook. Ava didn't touch a pan. It must have been Adrian. He could be so careless sometimes. Still tasting the rotten meat in the back of her throat, Casey stomped out of the kitchen, out onto the corridor, and into Adrian's office. Sorry. Dale distracted me with quote 673. When asked what Jesus was doing for 3 days, Chip said, jerking off. I mean, honestly, like, I don't even judge. She didn't even bother knocking. She's blah blah blah, and into Adrian's office. She didn't even bother knocking. He didn't even bother looking up at her. Casey stared at him for a moment, as though expecting to hear an apology. When none came, she felt a different fire claim her. Her chest grew heated. No, her chest grew hot. Her chest... Her chest grew hot. Fire filled her lungs. She ground her teeth. She crossed her arms so hard they hurt. She had put out the smoke and stopped it before it burned down the whole damn house, and all 3 of them with it. And all this while Adrian was just working? He hadn't even said a thing. He left the pan on the stove and probably forgot about it, seeing as how the meat was bad. Seeing how bad the meat was, he might have left it out all night, maybe even longer. He could have burned down the house and killed all of them. Casey tried to hold herself back, but she was disappointed. She let him have it. She was not the sort of person who shied away from confrontation. She loved Adrian. She wanted him to understand how dangerous his mistake had been. She did not hold back her words. Before she knew it, she was screaming at him, throwing her anger and frustrations at him. The fire spread inside her mind. And yet, he didn't even look at her. Lashing out, she turned his chair hard, forcing their gazes to meet. She let her anger flow freely out of her lips. She lashed out. For a moment, it was as though she breathed fire. Though no one could have been able to tell, for her words had no effect on the young man sitting at the table, sitting in his chair. Adrian blinked his eyes. At first, it was slow, as though the wings of a butterfly emerging from its cocoon. Then the blinking became rapid. His gray eyes finally moved. He looked at Casey, who was furiously raking him over the coals, and Adrian's expression shifted. His eyes filled with tears. He had no idea what was going on, and he told Casey as much. I don't remember. I'm so sorry. I think I lost track of time. How do you forget you left the pan on the stove? Casey rolled her eyes. She was losing control. She could No. I don't like rolling their eyes. Casey ground her teeth. That's much better. She was losing control. She could feel the fire spreading. Her blood boiled. She wanted him to learn to never. She wanted to teach him. She wanted to teach him to never ever again do that again. To never again. Nah. To never do that again. To never scare her again. How can you just walk away like that? The food went bad. Was the pan on the stove for hours? The house could have burned down. We could have died. Adrian, we could have all died. I could have lost you. Adrian apologized over and over. He didn't remember what happened. What had happened? He didn't even remember going to the kitchen. He searched his memory fruitlessly. He didn't even remember when he got out of bed that day. Let me rephrase that. He didn't even remember when he got out of bed that day. Okay, that's not that bad. How many hours had it been? How much time had he lost? I'm really sorry, Adrian said, his eyes welling with tears. I'm really sorry. I think I already said welling with tears. Oh, that was last chapter, actually. Yep, that's fine. She knew this was coming, and yet her fire cried at the touch of water. She suddenly felt quiet. She couldn't look at him like that. Adrian's tears always cut through her. But she wasn't done. Her heart was still beating hard. Her blood was still hot as embers. For a second, for the length of one selfish second, she hated him. She hated how he always retreated into Forgive me. She hated how he always retreated into his shell. All he needed was to start crying and she could do nothing else. The argument was over, there was nothing left to do, and now she felt like the villain. Maybe she was the villain. What kind of monster could make someone cry like that? Didn't she love him? Didn't he mean the world to her? She did, and he did. She loved him more than anything. She had been scared shitless about losing him. She had run into the smoke as fast as she could to prove that it wasn't the fire, to prove that their lives weren't at stake and that she didn't have to choose between saving Ava or Adrian or herself. You always do this. Casey shook her head. Whether her words were aimed at Adrian or at herself, not even she knew, for sure. I'm really sorry, Casey. Just leave the cooking to me. Casey walked out of the office, shutting the door behind her. She pressed her knuckles against the edges of her eyes, holding the feelings back. The friction of her bones against skin was enough to hold back the tears. Was enough to stop the tears, She took a step towards the basement, her little cave where she couldn't make things worse. But then something strange happened. Her booted foot made contact with the carpet and produced a wet squelch. She looked down and fought the need to gag once again. The carpet was wet and it smelled like earth and rot. Ooh. Episode 3, Act 1, Scene 1. Oh, it's in a dark room! Let's go! In a dark room, there's only a television set. The sad mechanism is worn with time and of use. There's nothing else in this room. This is all you see. As you stare into the glow, the fog of static clears. Before you is a screen filled with the color of blood. White text cuts across the center of the image. It shows a logo for a company. Sharp letters inside a rounded container. The contrast of the edged letters and the soft roundness around them. The white text cross across the center of the image. It's just a logo for a company. Sharp letters. Sharp white letters inside. Ooh, a blood red container with rounded edges. The contrast. I'm rewriting the section. The contrast between. Ooh. Okay, what am I trying to say here? The contrast of the edged letters and the soft roundness around them is no different than the red and the white. Red like blood, white like bone. The contrast Ooh, the contrast. Sharp. I'm not happy with this. White text cuts across the center of the image. It's just a logo for a company. Sharp white letters inside a blood red container. Okay, maybe I take this part here. I take this off. It's just a logo for a company. It is. It's just a logo for a company. At first, it looks playful, with the rounded edges and the container surrounding the letters of that name. But the words were sharp. But the edges of the words were sharp. Their contrast, was as clear as white and red. Red like blood. What was as clear as red and white. Red like blood, white like bone. In this contradiction of flesh and gore, a playful voice destroys the silence. Coming up next, a word from Starling Games. The red and white are swept to one side, as though no different than refuse sitting on the floor. What follows is a completely different image. It is a recording of a different place, somewhere familiar, somewhere in memory, It is the interior of a Victorian-style house. The camera is focused on 3 people sitting on a sofa. From left to right, there's a woman with brown skin and hair both black and green. There's a young man with ghost-shaped earrings and brown hair in a constant state of distress. And there's a woman with chopped up, dirty, I guess chopped up should be hyphenated, chopped up, dirty blonde hair, piercings all over her body and tattoos peeking out of her shirt. There's a moment of awkward silence, just like the second of delay between a message being sent to a server and being projected to another. The three on the sofa... Hey, let me finish this paragraph, okay? The three on the sofa are all holding hands. Behind them, there's a series of ornate frames. Instead of photographs, the frames contain art of their creations. There must be something unsavory about the art because it has been blurred so that one cannot make sense of what it shows. Because it has been blurred into meaningless censored. No. It has been censored into a blurred mess. All that can be seen through the fog is patches of red, gold, and black. Okay, hi there. We're Starling Games. We'll catch up here in a second. Let me get up and stretch. Let me just turn off the timer for a second. Okay. Fellas, welcome to the first break of today's creative session. I would like to say if you have a question you would like to ask me about my weekend, about the creative progress, you can ask me now. Or process, I guess. You can ask me now while I stretch. And I drink some of my coffee. And I probably put on more chapstick because my lips are chapped already, I can tell. I do want to say, by the way, biggest shout out of the day so far to Ronnie for telling me about the Mix It Up app, by the way. I am looking into it. I would like to set it up for my stream, but priorities, right? I first gotta get the priorities. Today, priority 1, do this stream. Priority 2, make the stream schedule. Priority 3, start working or continue working on the Halloween model. Those are my priorities. Once I get that, once I get there, I can start thinking about the Halloween remodel of the stream. Deep breath. It's getting warm already. I hate it. I hate it when it gets warm, man. It's bad. It's bad. All right, let me clear my throat and then we'll continue, okay? All right. fellas? Oh, Dallas asks, what's your queue for projects currently? Example, Tokimeki 95 and whatnot. So here's the queue for the current projects, okay? So first is the book. Memory Leak gets done first. I have, it's on my list of tasks to do. Again, projects are big, tasks are small, right? Tasks get done as part of projects, right? Sorry, I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm just like explaining. I will make a post talking about the feedback I received for Tokimeki 95 and the steps that I'm taking forward with that project. It's on the list of tasks that are coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up. I just have to, you know, get there. The current process for tasks. This book, Tokimeki 95 rework, and we'll see what happens after that. I have an idea for a Dark Souls inspired tabletop role-playing game that it has been my guilty pleasure to think about before going to bed. But I don't know if we're gonna get there. I don't know if I'm gonna have the creative energy to rework Tokimeki 95 and then work on a completely new and unique TTRPG. We'll see. I would like to maybe do some more fiction. We have the book from last year that I didn't finish. Rogan Rebirth. I'm a big fan. That book was basically inspired by shonen anime, and I very much love stupid shonen fighting anime. So maybe we could go back to that, maybe. Just a thought. It depends on what happens, you know? A lot can happen within 1 month. So for now, the plan is get this book to Kitty, which means completing this entire read. And then T95. I have an idea. I have an angle for reworking Tokimeki 95. But first, we have to get this book out. Thank you for the question. Thank you so much. And now, more questions later. For now, we return to the world of Memory Leak. Oh, timer. Hi there. We are Starling Games. It's the young man. He's the only one who speaks. He has a high-pitched voice. At first, he stammers. He appears to be uncomfortable talking for the three of them, and yet he's the only one who will speak during the entire presentation. The woman with black-green hair looks comfy by comparison. She looks at the camera as though it were a good friend. If you didn't know this was a video presentation, you'd think it was just a casual video call. A casual call between family members. Between friends. No, I guess, At this thought, you can't help but wonder what their relationship is. They are holding hands. They appear close. But 3 is such an odd number, isn't it? Though there is nothing odder than the woman with chopped up, dirty blonde hair. As the young man speaks, she appears to be moving her lips, mouthing the very lines he's saying. At times, it looks almost as though he is her puppet, and she is the ventriloquist. We're delighted to tell you that our last game, which you might know by a different name, is coming to Nintendo consoles. Ravaged and Jagged is releasing sometime later today. We hope you look forward to experiencing our retelling of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. Though this is not our only announcement for today, the young man pauses for a second too long, and the blonde next to him squeezes his hand to remind him of his next line. There's one more thing. We'd like you to know that our next game, King Lear, will be coming to Nintendo consoles on day 1. I would love to show you what our games look like, but I guess you just have to wait to experience them. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoy our past and future games. The video cuts off. The red and white returns. The playful voice continues talking, though to you it is just a garbled mess. You cannot make out what it's saying, just like you can't make out what's on the screen. It's just red and white, as though a cross-section of a human body. You stare deeply, hoping to hear the voices of those 3 again. Something about them, about the way they sat so close to one another, fills you with nostalgia. Not Stadia? No, it's not coming out on the Stadia, unfortunately. You wonder what became of them. And then, There's silence. The lights go off. And it's just you and the darkness of this room. Alright. Let me delete this note here. Act 1, Scene 2. How did the Stadia even fail to begin with? Listen. I don't know if I want to talk about the Google Stadia in today's piece. I think the issue is that I don't know, man. I feel like Google didn't put their entire goosey into that. You know what I'm saying? They could have put their whole goosey into that, but they didn't. Because again, it's Google, right? You would think Google has the money to super advertise their own console and really come in and sweep up, some sales. But I don't think that they didn't put their whole, goosey into that. Ava walked down the stairs to the first floor, wrapped in a blanket. She felt colder than usual. The weather was supposed to get better, but there appeared to be no end to the rain. It felt like weeks since Ava had last seen sunlight. She arrived at the first floor's landing then, as she held on to the... Why is the knob in brackets? Max from the past, what were you doing? She arrived at the first floor's landing then, as she held onto the railing. To the staircase railing. She spun on her heel and walked down the corridor. At the very end of this path, there were stairs leading to the basement, but that was not her destination. That is true. That is true. Alex makes a really good point there about the Stadia. At the very end of this path, there were stairs leading to the basement. There were stairs, but that was not her destination. She passed a couple doors, a couple piles of boxes, is still sealed like the day they left their old studio, and quietly pushed open a door that was ajar. The room was dark. If this had been her first time inside that place, she would have stumbled blindly, getting her bearings, but this wasn't her first time. She entered the darkness and navigated it with confidence. She walked around the desks right in the middle of the room, around a set of chairs, and over to the computer at the very back. The only source of light, the pale light of the computer screen, bathed Adrian in white. His skin looked no different than paper. His hair looked gray rather than brown, and his torn shirt gave the impression that he was not a living being, but rather a ghost. Adrian sat at his playtest station, his hands holding a controller, though he was pressing no buttons. On the screen there was a list of menus, though nothing was happening. The game was frozen. Some kind of bug, a mishap of programming, had brought the entire system into lockdown. Had soft-locked the system. Had soft-locked the system. The little characters in the game had no clue that their lives had come to a stop, and they had no hope of fixing it on their own. Adrian, are you okay? Ava asked, her soft voice. That's dyslexia, baby. That's why it helps to read shit out loud. No reply. She walked closer to him. She placed a hand on his shoulder. His shirt felt so thin, so worn with time. She really needed to get him a new one. She knew he would never buy one for himself. He was still living like a college dropout. She held her hand there, softly reminding him that he was not alone. Poor thing, his skin felt so cold. Adrian, baby, is this about Casey? Ava put her arms around him, letting her blanket cover him too. Maybe her warmth would be enough to save him. She shouldn't have said that. I already chewed her out for it, but I'll do it again if she as little as raises her voice. But I'll do it again. If I catch her, if she raises her voice again, if she does as little as raise her voice, she's going to catch these hands. It's okay now, Adrian. I got you. Everything's going to be okay. Adrian blinked his eyes. Suddenly his hands moved. She's going to catch hell. No, she's going to... Let's go with regret. I don't want to like specify like actual like abuse here, okay? Suddenly his hands moved. He pressed buttons. On the screen, the game world returned to life. Adrian's gray eyes moved. He blinked again and felt air return to his lungs. So I said earlier that the game was there was a bug. I'm gonna have to stop that. I'm gonna have to remove that. On the screen there was a list of menus, though nothing was happening. The game was frozen. Though this was no fault of a bug. Or programming mishap. Adrian was at fault. Time had stopped inside that little world. The little characters in that game had no clue that their lives, that game, were at the mercy of their puppeteer. Their puppeteer. As long as if he never again pressed the button. Ooh. Time would never... No. As long as he didn't press a button, make an input, time would remain frozen. Remain frozen. Forever. There you go. Suddenly his hands moved. He pressed buttons on the screen. The game world returned to life. Adrian's gray eyes moved. He blinked again and felt air return to his lungs. God, I'm so tired. Adrian? Ava? Adrian turned his head, suddenly realizing that his cheek was in contact with Ava's. He felt her lips touch his. He felt warmth all over. He felt happy. He felt young again. He had done a lot of crying lately, but he couldn't help but feel tears forming in his sore eyes. Such a mess. Sorry, Ava. I think I really need a break. I think I really need a break. It's okay. Ava kissed him again. Are you hungry? We could. I don't want to cook. I don't want anything to do with the kitchen anymore. We could order takeout. I don't think I'm hungry. Adrian looked down at his hands and the controller. Was he getting blisters on his fingers? For how long had he been playtesting? I think I just need a different headspace. I can fix that. Ava got up, leaving the blanket on Adrian's shoulders. She passed a hand over his messy hair. I'm talking about getting out of this room, cracking open our latest packages, and exercising that demon we were talking about. That's right, it's time to exercise a demon! Act 1, Scene 3. Do you think this will be enough salt? I hope so. Adrian and Ava were on the 3rd floor of the house. They had spent the last several hours cleansing each of the rooms in each of the floors of their house. Or exercise the demon, it's true. Did I use the right exercise? I did, okay, perfect. That's right, demon. That's right. Chop, chop, demon. It's time for you to get some workout. Yeah. All right, come on. And the 1, and the 2. Ava was the one in charge of the salt, which she poured out of an ornate glass container she got off the internet. While Adrian held a collection of cleansing crystals and a cleansing Buddhist bell. Ava poured the salt, Adrian held the crystals and rang the bell to expel the spirits out of their hiding places. Allegedly. He had no faith in any of this working. But then again, there was the list. The longer he could prolong having to consider the last item, the better. In between Adrian asking about the amount of salt they had and actually doing the first room of the 3rd floor, Ava's answer had proven to be incorrect. Ava held the ornate salt container in her hands. She shook it, getting some of the salt trapped in the little nooks to fall into the main reservoir. She wasn't entirely sure why the salt needed to be in a container shaped like a dragon, especially considering how much of the salt got into the little nooks, though she wasn't about to complain about that. Though, that wasn't the first thing on her long list of items to complain about. That's much better. She had enough things. The blackouts, Casey blowing up on Adrian losing track of time more than her, losing track of time more than her. There was a lot on her plate. That was why she didn't need the purifying, demon-fighting salt to be running out just as they were beginning the last third of their workload. I should have purchased 2 house kits. This house is just too big. Adrian nodded, feeling the slight need to laugh. This was not the way he expected their demon hunting to go. Though, then again, it didn't exactly. Huh? Though, then again, it didn't exactly start off on the right foot. Ava did most of the research and the purchasing. Adrian wanted little to do with it, mostly because he didn't believe in any of it, and he still didn't. The boxes Ava had gotten off of Amazon looked too sketchy. The very idea that you could purchase a demon cleansing kit seemed suspect. Adrian didn't care how many 5-star reviews the kit had, or that it wasn't an Amazon bestseller. Had they gotten these things out of the local witchy shop, he might have been willing to believe, but this wasn't all nonsense. Salt in a dragon-shaped container, crystals that affected the magnetism of the world or some other bullshit, a Buddhist prayer bell? What was that supposed to do? What if they were dealing with a demon of a different denomination? Did demons even have a religion? It was all too much for Adrian. He was done before they even unboxed the package. No. He was done before they even unboxed the package. The box was supposed to come with a set of candles that would purify the rooms, as well as a bundle of sage for warding against bad spirits. But something had happened to them. The box got a little wet, though the damp spot on the cardboard didn't seem to justify how the candles could not be lit and how the sage just didn't smoke. Those 2 were complete losses. At that moment, Adrian asked Ava to reconsider this ridiculous endeavor, but she did not budge. They were going to use as much of the kit as they could. And so, they spread salt, they held the magic crystals to the air, they rang a Buddhist bell that was used for prayer and which had no reason to have any effect on demons of the Christian mythos. They did this room by room, starting on the 1st floor and continuing up all the way to the 3rd. Their plan had been to leave the basement for last, hoping Casey would leave her room and offices, would leave her room for long enough that they could do it without her noticing, but that part of their plan had flown out the window. Or rather, poured out of one end of a dragon-shaped salt container. That's it, huh? Adrian asked. What about the rest of the rooms? We've only started with the 3rd floor and we haven't touched the basement. Maybe regular salt will work? Ava furrowed her brow. If that were the case, then why did we order expensive cleansing salt off of the internet? Adrian narrowed his eyes. You're not wrong, Ava sighed. I guess if regular salt was all it took, then there wouldn't be that many demons walking around. I mean, everyone has salt in their house somewhere. Adrian looked down, then right back up at Ava. A thought struck him like a slap in the face. Ava, listen to me. What is it? How is this salt supposed to work? Like, does it keep demons out? Yeah, that's the idea, Ava nodded, as though trying to convince herself of the strangest details she had read about online. Salt, being a purifying agent, is capable of keeping a demon from entering a space. It's kind of like putting up a barrier. It can't pass as long as the salt is there. But Adrian's voice grew quiet. He looked over his shoulder, as though expecting someone to be standing right behind him. But if there was a demon in the house, then wouldn't the salt just keep him in? Like, he can't go through the salt, right? So now the demon is just stuck here with us? Ava stared into space, then her cheeks reddened. Okay, I didn't think about that. Ava! Adrian put his hands on his face, causing the Buddha's bell to ring. He was really starting to hate that sound. Okay, so there's a demon in the house now. It's locked. It's like we just locked a tiger in one of these rooms. Wait, what am I even saying? Demons are not real. Just scratch it off the list already. Ava set the ornate dragon glass container on the floor, reached into the pocket of her sweatpants and produced her notepad, pen and all. She let out a dramatic sigh and crossed the word demons off the list. So far, their investigation had revealed that the source of their blackouts was, as far as they knew, not caused by the house being haunted or by the presence of some demonic entity. Although Ava would have argued there was still room for doubt, she could not argue with the empirical results. Also, if there was a demon, it was now currently trapped in one of the many rooms of their huge house. Huge house. Ava was about to put the notepad away when Adrian held her hand. He looked at the paper and squinted his eyes at an addendum Ava had written since the last time he looked at the list. Adrian frowned and stared into Ava's eyes. Of all the things that could be the reason behind the blackouts, he would have never expected her to be there. Ava, do you really think Casey's doing this to us?
Act 2, Scene 1.
Casey was exhausted. Her dirty blonde hair clung to her forehead thanks to the sweat of her effort. She had been moving up and down the house all morning, attempting to clean the mess on the carpets. She had a pair of rubber gloves on, a bucket full of rags, cleaning agents, and a good amount of bleach too. She hadn't cared to change her clothes, so her washed-out jeans were looking a little more bleached than usual. Casey let her knuckles rest on the floor. She tried to wipe the sweat off her face and succeeded only at losing her balance. She reached out with one gloved hand for the wall. She expected friction to catch her, but it did not come. She laid down and fell to the floor. It really, the order of operation is she fell to the floor and laid down. She fell. She just fell to the floor, Max. Casey found herself forced to savor that moment of weightlessness. When gravity took hold. From her point of view, it lasted entire minutes, but it was no more than a second or two. She saw the world around her shift as though the player-controlled camera in a video game. The camera moved out of control, and her player model fell to the floor. For better and for worse, nothing broke her fall, and she broke no bones. As she lay there on the floor, she saw the nearby door just a few inches away from her. If she had fallen a little bit to one side, her head would have hit the doorknob, and her story might have ended there and then. Thankfully, it didn't. Might have ended right there and then. The last words of her story were still just a distant thought. Casey tried getting back up, but felt her back give up on her. But felt her back give up. She felt a stiffness to her muscles. She didn't think it was caused by the impact, but rather her exhaustion. She laid there, looking up at the ceiling, feeling rather lonely. Suddenly, she heard steps in her direction and tried to look up, though this too failed. Her body was so tired, it felt kind of good to just lay there. She had been working so much, running herself ragged. Falling wasn't all that bad if it meant she could get some rest. Casey, are you okay? What happened? It was a youthful, high-pitched voice. Casey recognized that and immediately bolt up. Casey recognized it and immediately forced herself to sit up. She pushed past the pain and the shock of the fall and started getting up all on her own. She could feel the tension on her ligaments and muscles. She was tearing them. She was hurting herself in the process, all because she didn't want him to help her. She was ashamed to inconvenience him. She couldn't bear to think that he was currently worried about her the way she'd been worried about him during the smoke incident. I'm okay, I'm fine. Casey said, more to herself than to Adrian. How did you fall? Did you hit anything? Are you bleeding? Adrian lightly pressed the flat of his fingertips against the surface of Casey's skin, searching for the wet sensation of blood. His hands shook. He was so worried for her. He didn't want to lose her. I'm fine. She tried to push him off, but her limbs were too weak. She had no room to argue, so she let Adrian help her back to her feet. They felt so weak. She didn't feel any sharp pain anywhere, no bleeding for sure, though she hoped she hadn't broken anything. I'm not bleeding, I'm fine, really. I was just cleaning and I must have tripped. Then this stupid wall. Casey turned her head to look at the wall next to her. The same wall she had tried to get a grip on. There was a black smear on the wallpaper. As though possessed, Casey reached out with one gloved hand and touched it, causing an earthy scent to fill her nostrils. It was mold, black mold. There was a patch of black mold on the wall right dead center. Dead center. The room next to it wasn't even a bathroom or anything. How had water gotten on the wall? Are you fucking kidding me? Jesus, what is that? Adrian held a hand to his mouth. He did not have a stomach for grossness. He knew that if he caught the smell of whatever it was, he would lose his lunch, no doubt about it. It's black mold. Adrian felt the bolt of lightning shoot up his spine. Suddenly his heart was beating faster. His eyes seemed to dart about. Without realizing it, he began to smile. Black mold? It could be black mold. Could be. Casey narrowed her eyes. It is black mold. My parents had a place that would get mold. Okay. Alright, I feel like, I think like, farms in the wilderness near the forest, they get a lot of mold. I'm waiting for confirmation from Ronnie. I'm kidding. That's a joke. Could be. Of course. It's, no worries. The joke is that I always picture Casey's parents having a farm. And I was like, I feel like it's easy for like buildings like near like a forest to catch a lot of mold. And I'm like, well, like Ronnie lives in a farm. I could ask Ronnie. My parents had a, yes, I have more. I wasn't questioning you, but thank you. Had a farm with a barn. I know when I see it. This is the real stuff. This is great news. Adrian nodded to himself. What are you talking about? Casey reached for her bucket, pulled out one of the wet rags, and began scrubbing the wall. As she did so, she spoke in a frustrated tone, even though the person they were meant for was already running down the corridor. This whole house could be filled with black mold. How did we let it get this bad? Ah. Thank you for clarifying that, Ronnie. I appreciate that. Also, we're on break. I'm gonna get up and stretch, and feel free to ask me questions, chat, if there's anything you would like to ask me. About the book, about the creative process, about, I don't know, anything? Making progress. Feels good. Oh, I'm so happy to be back editing, man. I really like this book. I'm really happy with it. It is funny because normally there is a lot of like fixing little things, and I am fixing little things, but it isn't as bad as it normally is, you know? Aw, thank you, Ronnie. Yeah, this book came out really well. I wonder if it's because I was writing it before, if I was writing it live, you know? I wonder if that made me like be extra careful when writing it. I wonder. It's not perfect, and that's it for the coffee. I'm out of coffee. It isn't perfect, but I definitely see the distance between where the book is and where I want it to be before Kitty can read it is much closer than normal. I might not need to do another pass. I'm thinking I'm gonna send it to Kitty. Kitty's gonna give me their notes, and then I'm gonna literally I mean, I might just call it. It depends. If Kitty thinks the book is good to go, then the book is good to go. I'm not gonna dwell on it. I could do a pass of when I just listen to the book. That's something I like to do. I haven't done it for this book yet, so that's something that we could do. But other than that, the book is coming along well, and that makes me very happy. It means I can go back. I can go and work on the next thing sooner than expected. Ronnie says, I love that tip of listening to your writing when I was starting up. It helped me improve a lot. Aww. It's a good tip. I remember knowing writers who, like, all they did, they would just reread their writing silently over and over and over. And I'm like, the issue with that is that you end up basically memorizing your book instead of, like, constantly look for ways to improve, you know? That's the goal. And of course, I understand why sometimes people do that, right? It's scary to commit yourself to changes for a book. You know, if one were to describe the journey of creating a book, you know, there is multiple arcs, as you could say. And it's definitely really hard to, you know, once you finish writing a book, you're like, oh, that's the hardest part done, and then editing shows up, right? That's true. Ronnie says, especially for dialogue, that's very much true. Listening to your own writing for dialogue is very, very helpful. But you know, like, I think that it can be really difficult for writers sometimes when they find themselves literally at this precipice where, like, at some point I'm gonna be done working on this book and it's gonna be out of my hands and people are gonna be able to judge it on its own as it stands. And I feel like a lot of people, they come to that realization and they feel petrified. The thought that someone will judge their book for what it is versus what they've been thinking about the book for years, you know, like, it's rough, it's scary. But what you gonna do? What you gonna do? You're not gonna finish the book? Nah, baby. Put the book out. Put the book out. Release the book. 'Tis the only way you're going to get better. And with that thought, we're going to get ourselves back to working on the damn book.
Act 2. Scene 2.
Bad news. The guy says he can't come over until next Tuesday. Eva put her phone down and lingered there, leaning against the kitchen counter. Adrian and Casey were there with her, each trying to not look at the other. Each trying not to look. Each trying not to look at the other. There was tension between them. Eva didn't need to look deep at their details to know that, though she appreciated that they were able to put aside some of their discomfort to solve the mold problem. What do we do then? Adrian asked. He was sitting on the bar stool of the kitchen island, nursing a glass of juice that was filled all the way to the top. They had been in the kitchen for a while, first arguing, then looking for solutions, then finally calling expert after expert. All this time, Adrian had taken no sips of his drink. We can't live here, Casey said. She was still pacing back and forth, although she hoped that the other two would see this as a sign that she was full of energy. Ooh, this is clunky. Although, you know what? She hoped the other two would see this as a sign that she was full of energy. See this as proof. She was full of energy. She hoped that other two would see this as proof she was full of energy, but in reality, the reason for her constant movement was to work away the soreness of the fall. She was in pain, but she was not about to tell anyone. She reached into her denim pocket, pulled out her phone, and unlocked it. We can't live here with mold like this. You have no idea how unhealthy this is. We should stay at a hotel or something. Anywhere but here. But here until someone gets all this mold out of here. Anywhere but here. We should stay at a hotel or something. Until someone gets all this mold out of here. Adrian and Ava looked at one another. There didn't seem to be any other solution. Adrian and Ava looked at one another. There didn't seem to be any other solution. Ava had called every local expert and they were all busy. They had read up online about what they could do on their own, but there were dangers to exposing themselves like that. Out of the two of them, Ava seemed like the one who needed the most convincing. Her brow was furrowed, deep in thought. Was there another way out of this? What's going on here? What's going on over here? All three looked up. Nana was standing under the archway leading into the kitchen, looking about as lost as a kid in the woods. Nana stepped closer to them slowly. Stepped closer to them. Nana slowly stepped closer to them, as though afraid she was intruding on something she wasn't supposed to. As though, if you're intruding, then you're doing something you're not supposed to. Literally, just cut this off, Maxi. She was intruding. Any other person would have known to stay away, but Nana was really. Any other person would have known to stay away, but Nana really was the nosy type. There's more than this house. There's more than the house. Ava sighed, then gestured to Casey. She thinks we should get a hotel and wait until someone can take care of this professionally, so I guess we'll be packing. Why does it sound like you're downplaying this? Casey raised an eyebrow, and her tone. This is dangerous stuff. We might already be sick and not even know it. Casey's voice was slowly growing louder, and Adrian found himself standing between the two women. His hands were shaking. Just the thought of hearing his friends yelling scared him. But he found it within him. I feel like we can just put it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Guys, please don't do this. Let's not fight. We can figure this out. Guys, said Nana, her voice sweeter than sugar. She walked into the room, her feet as light as feathers, and flashed a smile at all three members of Starling Games. This is just mold, right? There's nothing a little scrubbing can't fix. If the cleaning guy or whatever is not around, then why not take the matters into our own hands? Why not take matters into our own hands? Into our own two hands? She smiled wider, happier. What a ray of sunshine she was. I bet that if we all work together, we'll get rid of the mold. Out of the three of them, Ava was the first to talk. It's worth a shot. We have masks, Adrian noted. That would help, right? Casey shook her head. She saw where they were headed, and could tell that Ava and Adrian were already thinking of staying. I don't think the commas needed there. But they couldn't stay. She wanted out of the house. She knew she could leave at any moment, but she didn't want to leave without them. She turned to look at Nana, pleading for her to listen to her. Pleading to her. Just pleading to her. We don't have to go through this. Come on. We could already get sick. We could already be sick from this. Nana took a step back. She held her hands up, as though to show she had no weapon. Her eyes widened, and when she spoke, there was a sadness to her voice, as though something had happened that really hurt her. Don't make me pick a side. I love you all equally. Why don't we just... Nana looked down, blinking her eyes slowly. Why don't we do both? We could try to clean as much as we can. Stick to those places, so we'll wait for the cleaning guy to come. While we wait for the cleaning guy to come. Would that work? Casey let out a grunt. She hated compromises like that. In her mind, there was a clear path out of here. They had to get out of the house, but now they were stuck either way. It was as though her feet were caught in quicksand. The more she struggled to get out, the more she sank. When Adrian and Ava agreed with Nana's plan, Casey said nothing. She just stared into space, wrinkling the sides of her jeans with her fists.
Act 2, Scene 3.
The house was a bigger mess than ever before. With the help of Nana, the other three souls went about attempting to clean the strange mold from the floor and the walls. They threw open windows, had fans moving the air around out of stagnant places, and used bleach wherever they could. There were times when they needed more cleaning supplies, and Casey was the only one who ever volunteered. While she was off shopping, the other three were busy cleaning. They wore masks to keep them from ingesting any more of the spores, and they got up on stools and down on their knees. They scrubbed and cleaned as the hours passed by. The light of the sun poured in through the open windows, and then the light of the moon did the same. All four of them worked in unison late into the night and early into the next day. All the cleaning they did was no different than their work. They took their tasks seriously and did not stop to listen to their aching bodies. The earthy smell of mold was gross enough that they felt no hunger or thirst. Instead, they worked. They did not split to save time. They kept each other company. They worked as though parts of the same mechanism. They worked without speaking, without making a sound other than the scrubbing of their rags. Their masks protected them, though it did not keep them from the smell of mold. Hi, Dusky. Welcome to the stream.
Whoever you are, welcome to the show.
I do also want to say, by the way, my pronouns are they, them. And yeah, I'm in fact editing my novel. I mean, I wrote this novel last year live on stream, so it makes sense that I would also edit it. Thank you, though. I have a lot of experience writing. They work without speaking, without making a sound other than the scrubbing of their rags. Their masks protected them, though it did not keep them from the smell of mold and bleach. These fumes burned at their eyes and mouths, but they did not slow. They did not quit working. They went room to room, cleaning until it was devoid of the black masses on the carpet and walls. Once a room was freed, and the air flowed freely in and out of the open windows, they moved to the next, and the next, until there was nothing left to do. Originally, they meant to only do a few rooms, the ones they used the most and the ones who saw the most traffic. That saw the most traffic, by the way. But they lost track of time. Once they got into the flow, they felt no need to stop. It was no different than working on their games. And when they were done, they could hardly remember all the things they had done in the hours that escaped them. At least the house was clean. Their fingernails burned with bleach, their stomachs begged for sustenance. At least the house was clean. Their victory fanfare came in the form of windows being closed, curtains being drawn, and fans finally turned off. The house returned to its previous state, quiet, dark, lonely. And so the three little lost souls and their greatest fan in the whole world went back to their little way of life. They got back to work, they got back to being nosy, and they got back to losing track of time. In between blinks of an eye, an entire day flew by. Breakfast and morning were gone between fragments of memory, working at the desk, resisting the urge to get up and move, working through the pain, working through hunger, and then, hours upon hours later, blinking their eyes and realizing they were somewhere else. Having dinner, sitting around the table with their friends and their fan, sharing in a home-cooked meal. This moment they would remember, as though a moving snapshot, a holographic trading card. Adrian, Ava, and Casey having dinner at their long dining table, their plates filled to the brim with good food and their glasses with good drink. Standing on her feet was Nana, who was topping their plates. Nana was laughing, her composure lost thanks to some joke one of the three had made. Adrian and the rest were laughing too. The sweet moment would not last, but for now, they were a family of sorts, and that was good enough.
Act 3, Scene 1.
Casey sat at her desk, her hand on her computer mouse. She moved the same color block back and forth, back and forth. I feel like we can probably do back and forth, period, back and forth. I feel like it gives the pause a little bit more weight there. She'd been doing this for a while. The song was done, but she didn't want it to be done. She didn't want to finish work for the night and then climb back up the steps and walk into the kitchen. She didn't want to go back there again. The place where she saw the pan on the stove smoking up a storm. The place where they had been arguing about the mold. She let out a sigh of relief. At least that was done. I actually don't think we need the emphasis here. At least that was done. She moved the color block. She even deleted it. Then undid the action, causing the block to come back to life. As though she had managed to rewind time. That was something that always seemed to amuse her about computers. Yo, hi Siska!
Welcome back.
How you doing? Love you. There was something magical about them. The very idea that you could visualize her music on a screen was nothing short of science fiction. She knew these things had been around for a long time, but she still felt wonder at the technology they had. After all, they were making games in that house, complete games, just the three of them. It felt like magic. At least, it should have felt like magic. You just woke up? Good morning. Guten Morgen. Casey looked over her shoulder in the direction of the door leading out of her office. Casey looked over her shoulder. Just, dude, at the door leading out of her office. We don't, brother, sister, sibling. Less is more, okay? She was terrified that someone would catch her procrastinating. Casey looked over her shoulder. Morgus? Guten Morgen. Morgan is pretty mid. How dare you? You're making fun of me. She was terrified that someone would catch her procrastination. No, catch her procrastinating! That's what it is. Yeah. Killing time. Wasting precious time. That's what it is. She had always been this way. She was constantly on the edge at the register. Always worried her boss would sneak into her cubicle. Always on edge. Always on edge. Always sure that they would catch her doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. Yo, hi Joestar, how you doing?
Welcome back.
That's right, yeah. This is the book that I wrote last year. Now I'm editing it live on stream. Sit back and enjoy me reading, breaking up the reading by going, yeah, no, that's dumb, and then fixing that. Always sure that they would catch her doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. Of course, this was not the case anymore. This was not the Casey anymore. She was technically her own boss. She could get up and go to the city and drink the night away, sleep the night away, and no one would stop her. Sure, Adrian and Ava would probably talk to her about it, but nothing would come of it. There were no consequences, and yet she could not bring herself to do it. She could not handle the possibility of letting them down. Or was it inevitable? Casey selected the whole song on her program and pressed the delete key. All her work gone. She looked at the screen, as bare as a fresh canvas. She felt relieved. She hated that song. She didn't like what she was making. But she couldn't stop. Casey undid the deletion. Time rewinded. The song came back just as before. There was a knock at her door, and Casey was too quick to reply. She thought she sounded guilty or suspicious. Come on in. She didn't look over her shoulder. This late into the night, it was probably Nana. Nosy little Nana looking for a chance to sample the latest track. Casey had no idea how that girl could enjoy the garbage she was making. How are you doing? How are you doing? Casey was startled. That wasn't Nana's voice. She turned her chair to look at Adrian. He was at her door, not stepping into the room and not making eye contact. She looked at him, hoping their eyes would meet. God, she loved him. He was so brave sometimes. She had done something awful, had yet to apologize fully, and there he was, already giving her another chance. She didn't deserve him. Adrian, what's the matter? Oh, it's nothing, Adrian did not look up. Nana told me to check in on you. You didn't eat your share of the dinner, so I figured you were still working. I usually skip dinner until after I'm done, yeah. So that's the case. Well, sorry to intrude. Adrian took a step back, as though about to close the door and leave, when Casey called out to him. She told him to stay. Listen, Adrian, I want to say... The words escaped her. She wanted to apologize, but the words didn't come to her. It felt as though she would admit defeat. As though she would put the last word in another chapter of her continued failures. No matter how hard she tried, she was doomed to fuck up time after time and time again. Adrian, are you alright? That was the best she could do. The furthest she could go across the bridge that separated them at that moment. Honestly, I don't know. Adrian shook his head. The little ghost earrings appeared to move up and down, as the little specters in the night. Can I would it be okay if I asked you something weird? How weird are we talking about? Casey forced a smile. It's about work. Sure, what is it? Casey's smile faded and heard her own voice fall back into the familiar all-business cadence. Do you want me to review any of the tracks? Do you want me to review any of the tracks? Or did you think of something new to add? That felt a little clumsy. Let me read that again. Do you want me to review any of the tracks? Or did you think of something new to add? Okay, that's not... Okay, I think it was my read. Adrian shook his head. He parted his lips and let the words fall out of him. Do you ever lose track of time while working? You know, like, one moment you're working at the desk and next thing you know, it's hours later and... I know this sounds crazy, but, you know, it's like you skip forward in time and don't remember anything in between. Have you ever experienced something like that? Not really. Casey scratched at her temple. Unless you're talking about the flow state. That's when you really get focused on your work. That's when you get really... see, I do this in my first draft. I put certain words out of order. That's when you get really focused on your work. It feels a little weird, yeah, but it's a good thing. I mean, Adrian, you're really good at what you do. Of course you get lost in the flow state. That's what all good artists do. The flow state? It's not just artists, of course. Casey shrugged her shoulders. This all seemed so mundane to her. Hadn't Adrian heard about this before? Athletes also experience the flow state. They focus on their sport or whatever they do, and time kind of gets compressed. It's similar to that whole thing about time flying when you're having fun. I guess you're right, Adrian smiled. Maybe that's all it is. For sure, Casey smiled back, though he did not see her. Don't be down on yourself, it's a good thing. Casey, thank you. And with that, Adrian left the room and closed the door. Casey sat there, still facing the same spot where he had been, listening to the sound of his footsteps moving up the stairs. She could not help but wonder if that was all that was truly bothering him. We don't need that truly here. If that was all that was bothering him, that's it. We don't need to super specify that, okay? She wondered if this question about the flow state was nothing more than an excuse to see her, to meet her halfway across the bridge. Casey looked behind her, at the computer, at the work that still remained, and she considered calling it a night. But then she thought about Adrian, about her share of the load, and so she got back to work. She felt time compress around her. She stepped into a familiar domain, something she assumed had to be the flow state. She did indeed flow from moment to moment effortlessly, gliding in the same fashion as an ice skater would, except that it was not her doing. Time got away from her, her body tired, her soul worn out. It would be wore out. And yet she did not stop. She went until the work was complete, and then some more, and then she came to. She blinked her eyes and found herself not in her office but on the first floor, walking towards the playtest room. She stopped there, foot hanging in the air, as she realized she knew what she was going to do. It was time to cross the whole damn bridge and apologize.
Act 3, Scene 2.
Adrian sat in the darkness of his playtesting room. In between blinks of his eyes, time appeared to dissipate. He played through the current version of the latest build, over and over, pushing the boundaries of their creation, seeing where it breaks, seeing where it broke. I think broke is correct here. I'm gonna let Kitty tell me if this is wrong. He kept a pad next to him to write down notes in, though in his head he was organizing a list of all the things. Okay. Breaks sound better, but I don't know grammar. I'm gonna seeing where it broke. I'm gonna let Kitty figure it out. I have an editor. I'm gonna let Kitty figure it out. If it stumps Kitty, then I'll let Kitty fix it. I'll let Kitty decide. Now this I have to fix. Kitty knows. The truth is that Kitty knows. He kept the pad next to him to write down notes in, though in his head, he was already sorting through lists in his head. The pad was more... No. He kept He kept it all in his mental files. A part of me'd wonder if it was odd for a programmer to have all the answers, as though the god of a lonely realm, but Adrian was not sure. He assumed this happened often. After all, indie game development was a lonely endeavor. Lonely endeavor. Most of the time, it was just one person in their bedroom making games on their off time. Instead of sleeping in, going out, or playing games themselves, they spent their limited free time creating something new. Adrian remembered those good old days. Back at the studio apartment, back at his college dorm. Things were different back then. Back then, he didn't lose track of time like he did now. Adrian considered what Casey had told him. Maybe he was just getting better at writing code and prose. Maybe he wasn't as much of a sham, of an imposter as he thought. Maybe he truly deserved the fame and the money. Maybe not. Adrian blinked his eyes and saw himself in snapshots. When put together, as though the pages of a flipbook, the animation they created was choppy and nonsensical. How did he beat the game so fast? How did he fill up pages upon pages of notes? Was this what it meant to be good? Did all the experts suffer from complete lapses of memory? Maybe. Maybe not. Adrian stared at the computer screen, controller in hand. He let the game sit there, running as though a faucet. He watched his creation move. The little characters walked around their virtual realm, unaware that every part of their being, their lives, was predetermined. The only thing, they only did what they were told to do. The little characters could only do what they were told to do. I wish I was a Sim, says Ronnie. Oh my god. The little characters could only do what they were told to do. They only moved when they were allowed to. And anyone who didn't would be changed, fixed, fit into the correct shape. No entity was beyond the boundary of his vision. Adrian blinked his eyes slowly, fearing that time would escape him again. Ronnie! He held onto the controller as though an anchor and waited. Dude, I should do a playthrough. I should do a playthrough of The Sims, but it's just like mods. That would be kind of fun. That'd be kind of fun. Adrian blinked his eyes slowly, fearing that time would escape him again. He held onto the controller as though an anchor and waited. He opened his eyes. He was still in the same room, in the same darkness. Nothing had changed. At least, not yet. Behind him... How much do we have left? We have a lot left, don't we? We have a lot left of 3-2, okay. Hey! I think Siska's pretty. I think Siska's pretty. Shut the hell up, Siska. How dare you offend my friend? How dare you offend my friend Siska? Anyways, I'm on break, fellas. Welcome to the break. I would like to remind you, by the way, if you haven't already, consider leaving a like on the video. It helps a lot. And if you haven't already, if you would like to support the stream and what I do, consider supporting me through coffee.com/mkirin or by becoming a YouTube member. You get cool emotes like the ones I'm gonna show off in chat right now. Once I finish clicking on all these buttons, there we go. And you get a cool badge next to your name. Isn't that cool? Isn't that neat? Wouldn't you think your collection's incomplete because you're not a member yet? Yeah, I will say I do love this person over here becoming back my mathematics. Best of luck to them. So fellas, I'm stretching. I'm on my feet. I'm on break. You are free to ask me any questions. Welcome to the AMA section of the stream. You're free to ask me anything. We're going to be editing for approximately 1 more hour, and then I'm going to be doing dailies. That's right, games you can only play today. I'm talking Wordle. I'm talking Quirtle. I'm talking Pokedoku. Now let me check. I think I got a text from Kitty. Did I pray good on Saturday? Yeah, okay, so I have to say, I haven't. No worries, Alex. Have a good break. Actually, Ronnie, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't seen the VOD because I had a super busy Friday. I had a really busy Saturday and a busy Sunday. I spent all day yesterday sleeping because I was so tired. Aw, kitty. Let me just reply to this text real quick. My baby is having a bad day at work, but no worries, I can fix that. Don't worry, I'm worrying. I want to listen to you singing, Ronnie. Siska. I mean, for context, I mean, I think I'm allowed to give context. Oh, this is like the saddest context ever. Okay, so, Kitty works at the Pokemon daycare, and sometimes, you know, some Pokemon, you know, it's their time, so they all, you know, they put down Pokemon at the Pokemon daycare, and, there was a really sad one today, and you know, Kitty's not doing too good, but you know what, I'm gonna give my wife extra hugs and cuddles when they come home. That's just part of life, baby. Dude, let's go! Exciting! Siska says Saturday was really good. Ronnie's an incredible singer and completely blew past the goal. Hold up. I'm not gonna listen to it now because I'm gonna get doxxed. Or I'm gonna get freaking copyright claimed. But I'm gonna freaking watch. I'm gonna put up the VOD to watch while I'm doing work later. Well, these are clips. I just want the past broadcast, please. Oh, Ronnie looks so cute. Ah. Yeah, 2 hours of Ronnie singing, exactly what the doctor ordered. Also, today's Tuesday. Ronnie, are you streaming today? Why do I feel like Ronnie is streaming today? Ronnie is doing some more Death Stranding today. Hell yeah. It's piss day. This is not my piss. Sorry, that's a reference to Elden Ring. All right, fellas. I'm having fun. Chilling and chatting. We'll continue chilling and chatting in a little bit. Let me blow my nose because it's hot and somehow I'm catching a cold. Life is unfair. And I might as well get some water out. Here you go. Here's my bottle of water. Alright. I replied to my wife. I answered some questions. It's time now to get back to work. Alright, so 25 minutes on the clock, get set, go. He opened his eyes. He was still in the same room, in the same darkness. Nothing had changed. At least not yet. This song is a little bit too intense. Can I please skip this one, please? Better, thank you. At least not yet. Behind him, he heard the door of the room open. He never locked it. He often left it ajar. Ava, Casey, and Nana all loved to walk in on him while working, so he didn't try to fight it. When he heard the door, he assumed it was one of them. Or maybe it was the demon, or the ghost, or something else. Or it was maybe a demon, or a ghost, or something else. At this thought, Adrian thought to look over his shoulder. Fear tried to take root in his mind, but the soil was not fertile enough. Adrian shrugged. If there was in fact a demon standing right behind him, then looking back wasn't going to change a damn thing. Adrian? That was not a demon's voice. It was Casey's. What's the matter? He asked softly. I think this should be lowercase h? I hate. I think it should be lowercase h, even though it makes no sense. Ugh, I'm gonna put it back to capital H, we'll see. Is it done already? No, it's not. Casey's voice grew closer. Adrian thought she had to be right behind him now, close enough to put her hands on his shoulders, though she didn't. She didn't dare touch him again, not after what happened. What had happened? The game is coming along, Adrian said, just to break the silence. I think we might be able to sneak in another ending. This part of the game is pretty much good to go, for now at least. So we could have a little fun. I'm sorry. Adrian blinked. Time did not move. The needle on the clock stood still. He looked over his shoulder. Casey was there. She was looking at him. Her blue eyes stared deeply into his gray. She was looking at him. She looked so sad. His heart ached just seeing her like that. I'm gonna have to specify Adrian's heart ached just seeing her like that. Casey? I'm so sorry, Adrian, about everything. Casey took his hand and kissed it. I've been a real asshole. I'm really sorry. Casey looked down. She felt the need to disengage, to hide, to play the whole situation as a gag or some heartless prank. She was ashamed of opening up. She was ashamed that she messed up. She was ashamed to admit she messed up. She thought that if she didn't address it, then maybe it would be forgotten and she would never have to face the consequences. But she knew that didn't work. Her parents were proof of that. You could not just stick your head in the mud and pretend things didn't happen. You had to face them head on. Give up your flimsy little pride and open up your heart. I'm so sorry I yelled at you. I was angry, I was frustrated, but there was no excuse. You didn't deserve that. Adrian, I love you. Casey felt the stinging pain on the edges of her eyes. Then came her tears. Then came her tears. Oh, I feel like, oh, how they stung. But at least the pain gave her clarity. I love you and Ava. You both mean the world to me, and I can't believe I would ever endanger that. You guys are everything. Everything I have. I'm so sorry. I promise you I'll do better. In one swift motion, Adrian got up from the table, from the chair, and wrapped his arms around Casey. He held her tight, as though she were a lifesaver and he was lost at sea. At least now there was hope. He would no longer drown. So lost were they in that moment of contact that neither heard the game controller Adrian had been using touching the floor. The game controller falling to the floor. Their senses had become a sphere of warmth, familiar scents, and the touch of their lips. More tears came, but Casey did not mind. At last, she felt whole again. She could not help but be reminded of her younger self, how easily she broke things when she was angry, how much she regretted every outburst, and how painstakingly she tried to put the pieces back together. It seldom worked. She often got a beating from her parents, which only made her angrier. That version of herself, that furious child that became a fireball of a teenager, felt so distant now. The fire was dying down. She didn't want to hurt anymore. I'm so sorry. I promise I'll be better. It's okay. Adrian kissed her again and again. Everything is okay now. I am happy. I feel like I've been missing a chunk of me. Me too. They held each other for a while, feeling the warmth between them grow. They did not wish to part. They clung to the sensation like a survivor reaching to the warmth of a campfire. Yeah, no wonder I put asterisks here. I don't know what the hell I'm saying here. They clung to that sensation. Ooh. They clung to that sensation. What do you call a bad coffee brewer? Excuse me? What do you call a bad coffee brewer, Ronnie? A barista? How dare you? They clung to that sensation. They did not wish to part. Between them was the glow and warmth, the glow and heat of a bonfire, of a campfire. Around them, darkness and cold. Around them, darkness and cold. They could not bear. No. Okay, I'm doing surgery now. I'm fixing this. Grow. They did not wish to be apart. There was a candle's flame dancing between them, between their chests, their hearts, and they were afraid that if they moved too quickly, too rashly, too carelessly, the flame would die. They held each other. They savored the warmth and the light. They were not alone. They were not alone. It would die. And yet, one of them realized they had to move. Okay, I feel like this is a better bridge, leading us back to Adrian revealing to Casey the stuff about the list and all the crazy stuff they've been talking about. Casey? Yes? What's wrong? There's something Adrian bit his lip. He wanted to tell Casey, let her in on what they've been up to, but hesitation struck him like a blow. And yet he shouldered on. He chased the light and the warmth. Casey, there's something I've been meaning to tell you.
Act 3, Scene 3.
It was strange, being out on the front deck of the house, especially so late at night. 3 little lost souls found themselves savoring the cold of night and a moon as full as it was yellow. There was a tangible sense of peace. There were no cars driving up and down the street. The nearby houses were dark. I didn't even change my expression. The houses were dark. Most of them were seasonal rentals anyway. The blanket of night felt oppressive, and only a handful of streetlights seemed to fend it back. Moths fluttered around the few sources of light, including the exterior lights of the Starling house. There was a small table and a couple chairs off to one side, though they were unoccupied. Adrian, Casey, and Ava were happy enough just standing. Their elbows rested on the railing. They looked out to the street, to the night, to the fluttering moths. Oh, how simple life seemed like then. How simple life seemed then, even amidst the clutter. There were a lot of boxes on the deck, some of them spilling onto the steps of the house. All 3 of them looked at the mess with a sense of actual wonder. All 3 of them looked at the mess. Looked at the piles? Let's go with the piles. The piles of boxes with a real sense of wonder. How had things gotten so bad? Sorry, I'm turning the AC up because it's getting warm in here. It's getting warm in here. So turn up the AC. Had they really lost track of time so badly? There had to be at least a couple dozen boxes just piled up. A couple dozen boxes. And yet, the saddest sight of them all was the mailbox just at the edge of their property. That box was stuffed, gorged to the breaking point with leaflets, letters, and all kinds of papers. It looked as though it could explode at any second. When the 3 of them decided to step outside, get some fresh air for once, they had shared a look of passing disappointment. Yes, this was indeed a mess, though this only lasted a second or so. What followed was a kind of pride. It really was a mess. I'm not sure where Max is going with this, but I'm gonna keep pushing. It really was a mess. Like, outstanding. Like outstandingly. It was the kind of stuff that you didn't see in life every day. They savor the ridiculousness of their... I don't know what I was trying to say here. Okay, let's rework this, okay? Maybe we can just cut this whole part and just... Because, yeah, you know, things look bad. How did they get bad? Okay. I think we just need a line of, like, they recognize it's almost ridiculous, and then we just move on. They're gonna fix it, we know that. Explode any second. Against all... It was almost too unreal to be believed. This mess, these piles of boxes, it was obscene. They could hardly believe they had let it happen. It felt like some cruel joke. Like some cruel joke. Felt like some cruel joke. Some prank a neighbor had played on them. But such was not the case. This was their mess. And they could fix it. And they could fix it. This was their mess. And they could fix it. And they could fix it. And they could fix it. And they would fix it. And they could not... Well, I don't know if I can promise they're gonna fix the exterior of the house. I don't know if you were there for their writing sessions. And they could fix it. But first... there was something they needed to talk about. I think we can probably... Adrian and Ava were working themselves up. Were working themselves up to that... Ooh, prickly topic. Prickly topic. When a comment... No, Adrian and Ava were working themselves up to that prickly topic. To the... What if we do to the prickly topic of the list? Though, not before addressing a few more obvious. No. Working themselves up to that the prickly topic of the list. There was something they needed to talk about, though before they could get there, one of the three souls made a comment that stood out. But before they made it there, one of their comments, one of their offhand comments took center stage. There we go. That's one way to get there. Also, my god, it's fucking warm in this room. Wasn't Nana supposed to get all these packages and mail? Adrian narrated his eyes. He wasn't sure he had asked Nana himself if she could do them a little favor and get... No, wait. What are you saying here? Adrian narrowed his eyes. He wasn't sure he had asked Nana himself. But he could almost remember her saying she would. She was always offering to help with things like that. I almost want to say like picking up his medication, but I feel like that's a little bit too on the nose, so I'm not gonna say it. I mean, Casey sighed. She'd come around the Nana situation. If that girl wanted to help around, then she was okay with it. Under one condition, of course. If we're gonna keep giving her chores, then we have to at least pay her. She may not like it, but tough titty, she's getting paid for all she does. Okay. Casey. I don't know why I put these words in your mouth, okay? This is not your fault, Casey. This is my fault. I made you say tough titty. Let's give you something a little bit more in character, okay? She may not like it. But that's too damn bad. Too damn bad. But that's too damn bad. No titty? Pleading? Tough shit. But tough, she may not like it. But tough shit. Tough shit. Tough shit. She's getting paid for all the work she does. Thank you, Dallas. Good point. She's going to argue, Adrian muttered. Then let her argue. I'm the king of arguing. Casey pointed at herself with a prideful thumb. She'll come around to it. Now, with that settled, you'll want her to come out here and clear the air? Adrian and Ava looked at one another. It felt strange that Casey knew everything. It was a naked kind of feeling. And also shameful in another way. They really should have come to her from the beginning. They really should have come to her from the beginning. They really should have asked her for help. Instead, they went around her, and for a time actually considered her to be at fault. For what? They were still not sure. The blackouts were still happening. They were as regular as ever, but they were happening. That was why they were out there in the middle of the night, feeling the cold against their skin, ready to talk about it. At last, talk about the list. Though, from Casey's point of view, there was only one item she wanted to talk about. She took a deep breath, then let it out in one fell sentence. You guys really thought I was summoning demons or something? What, you thought I was best friends with Pazuzu or Beelzebub? I mean, you know their names. Ava looked, you do know their names. From video games. All those things on my shelf, they were from video games. Listen now, Ava's face got a little redder. You're a goth. And you have all those obscure tattoos. First off, Casey said, smiling. She was having fun, though not too much fun. It was only recently that she had been on the other end of a conversation just like this. So she was trying to take things with a little grace. I was raised super religious, so then I became a teenager. So when I became a teenager, I rebelled hard. I did everything my parents disagreed with. I dyed my hair black. I listened to loud bands. I got piercings and tattoos. And speaking of those, Adrian reached out with one hand and pointed at the few occult symbols. Why is this an occult symbols on Casey's sleeve? Those are also video game references. Yeah, they look spooky, but that's just straight up. That's straight up an item from a roguelike. And there's also that small crying child. That's also from a game. Ava, you played that game. Oh, that's really funny. Ava, you played that game. Ava, you played The Binding of Isaac, Ava. You recognize Isaac. It would be funny if Casey just has the Bible thump emoji. The Bible thump like an emote on her sleeve. Ava stared daggers at Adrian. Though even this gesture didn't last long. She sighed, feeling a lot sillier than she had in a long, long time. Listen now, she laughed. Ava is like me when people ask me about Baldur's Gate 3 NPCs. Thank you. I never claimed to be smart. If I were smart, I wouldn't be making doodles for a living. Oh, look, it's the joke I make all the time, but it's Ava making it. I feel, this is a year old, by the way. I feel like Ava might have been the source of that joke. You could say it's Isaac? I could. But it feels a little bit too, like, I don't know. Mentioning Nintendo is fine to me. Mentioning The Binding of Isaac is like, it's also because, technically speaking, wouldn't it be correct? It would probably be The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. And the thing is that, like, Who is gonna find that funny? Me? Kendra? Kitty? To the average person who has no idea, thank you, Ronnie gets it. Kendra will find it funny. To the average person who has no idea what the hell the Binding of Isaac: Rebirth is, they're gonna think it's a made-up video game. Cause if you look at it out of context, it sounds like a made-up video game. I don't know. I feel like sometimes, you know, I'm of the mind that less is more. And again, maybe, you know what? Let me put a comment right here, okay? Should I just say the Binding of Isaac? Or nah? There you go. And I'm gonna put the little pleading emoji. There you go. Because again, who's the joke for, right? And I feel like I established that way. It's actually established way earlier when it's Ava and Casey come out of the shower, and Ava is all concerned that the fact that Casey may be like summoning demons, right? And she points out the brimstone tattoo on Ava's sleeve, and and Casey says that it's from a video game. And I describe it so that anyone who has ever played Isaac will know exactly what the brimstone symbol is. So, I don't know. We'll see. Casey and Adrian leaned in, each kissing one of Ava's cheeks, making her a kissing sandwich. That only served to redden, which only served. Oh, that's a stupid bit. Which only served to redden her face. In an attempt to make things a little better and lighten the mood just a little, Casey flashed a smile and added, "Well, that holy salt you sprinkled everywhere did help fend off the mold, so it wasn't a total waste." The three of them lingered on that sentence. Not so much the last few words, but the very middle of it, the mold. That felt like it had happened so long ago. It had completely wrecked their routine, and all of them were struggling to get back to work. There was also the uneasy feeling that, although that defeated the mold, it could come back any day. Especially if it was between the walls or something else, something worse. Neither brought this up, though they were all thinking it. If that house was no good, they were going to have to look for a new place. This topic was both bitter and sweet. They had made memories in that house, though not all of them were good. Maybe a new home would be the solution to the blackouts too. So what now? Adrian thought out loud. His blackouts seemed to be the worst of the three. He wanted to believe that maybe without the mold and with his heart a little lighter after making up with Casey, that maybe they would cease. But he was not sure. He looked down at the railing. There was something there, a little bundle of pages bound by a plastic toxic green spiral. Oh yeah! There was something there, a little bundle of pages bound by a plastic toxic green spiral. I feel like this is clunky, but I'm gonna let Kita decide if it's too clunky. It was Ava's notebook, open to the list. In case you're wondering, Maxi, why are sometimes words written in all caps? That's how I let me from the future know that something should be italics. I do not worry with formatting when I'm making the goddamn book. Okay, I do not care about it. I don't waste my time adding italics. I only add them afterwards. And with that, we've completed another cycle. Fellas, I'm going on break. We're going to do one more cycle and then we do dailies, okay? Plastic spiral, the color of toxic green. Hi, Sofifi.
Welcome back.
Hello, fellas. I'm currently on break. And I want to say, by the way, if you haven't already, please consider leaving a like on the show. It helps a lot. And also, if you have any questions, you can ask me right now. I'm literally stretching. I'm up on my feet. And we're doing essentially the AMA section of these streams where you can literally ask me anything. I can't wait. Well, clearly, I'm gonna watch Ronnie's stream. I'm gonna have it on the side while I do work today. And then, maybe for dinner, maybe while I'm making dinner, I listen to Ronnie sing. Oh, that'll be fun. Also, I have so many stories, but I just haven't had the time because this is not really like me telling you what I did last week. Which Love Live character deserves the most head pats? Which Love Live character deserves the most head pats? I'm thinking, I mean, like, I'm biased, right? I think that, you know, I mean, like, my girl Kasumine should get all the head pats because I love her. But who deserves head pats because she's sad and she just needs people to just love her? I forget her name. The girl from Layla, the red-haired one. Is it Ellie? Melly? Ellie? It's not Ellie. The red-haired one. She's got way too much stuff going on. Someone give her a head pat. It's May. Thank you. So Fifi asked, if English was a language that genders they, them, what pronouns would you go by? Wait, what do you mean? If English was a language that genders they, them, what pronouns would you go by? I would still go by they, them. And there's the idea, like, if there wasn't they, them in English, I would make up something, you know? It's just like you have the L in Spanish, you know? Like, I would make up something. Because I don't identify with masculinity or femininity, so I wouldn't do neither. Dallas says, I think 2/3 of your audience is going to get an Isaac reference regardless. I think the question is how the character would be more or less specific. So from that point of view, I think from that point of view, my answer is, I prefer to look at it from the character point of view, right? I don't think that Adrian would say the Binding of Isaac. Adrian's way of verifying with Ava that Ava should know this information is Adrian going, Ava, you played that game. Yo, hi Noms.
Hey, bud.
How you doing, nerd? How you doing, nerd? Alright, fellas. We have half an hour more of editing, and then we will do dailies. Nomia says, I am sleepy. Hi, Sleepy. Welcome to the stream.
Whoever you are, welcome to the show.
Hi, wifey. Oh my god, hi, wifey. I hope you're feeling better, my love. I love you lots. We've been having a really good editing day. I'm almost done with episode 3, which means we are effectively halfway through the book. Only like a couple notes. Like, there's only been one note for you so far. Also, Kitty, I'm gonna extend Dale's question to you. Which Love Life character do you think deserves the most head pats? Go, Kitty. And with that, let me just clear my throat and drink some water, and then we'll get back to reading, okay? Kitty says all of them. Of course. Of course that was your answer. Of course that's your answer. Alright, fellas. 25 minutes on the clock. Get set. Go. So what now? Adrian thought out loud. His blackout seemed to be the worst of the 3. He wanted to believe that maybe without the mold and with his heart a little lighter, after making up with Casey, that maybe they would cease. But he was not sure. He looked down at the railing. There was something there, a little bundle of pages bound by a green spiral. By a green spiral. Green spiral. Yeah, that's enough. It was Ava's notebook, open to the list. Oh no, I hate that. So Vivi says Polish is a beautiful language, but sadly genders the plural third person. RIP. He tried not to notice it, the same way that a child would try not to notice a shadow in their room. If they didn't look at it, if they didn't acknowledge it, if they hid their face under the blankets, then it couldn't hurt them, right? Well, I think we should get back to work, Ava sighed. I think we need a vacation. Casey noted. Ava and Casey looked at one another. They silently disagreed and considered whether they were about to partake in a playful argument. At the pace we're going, we might release the game early. Adrian broke the silence, his eyes out of focus. Oh my god, Dale. I hate that story. We could take a break then. I mean, we've been working non-stop for like 4 years. It's been more like 3. Actually, it's been 5, Casey added, who had the receipts. We haven't taken a real break since way before Ravaged and Jagged. I feel like we went into that right after... Oh my god, I didn't come up with the game before that! Oh no! Oh no! You know what? How about I just do myself a favor and I just cut that line from the book. There you go. I don't have to make whatever the previous game was. There you go. See, sometimes, if you walk yourself into a corner, just edit the corner out of existence. It's been too long, Adrian sighed. To this, there was no refute. Although they did not agree on when they would take a break, there was a consensus. They needed to step away from game development. Adrian did not bring up the blackouts, but there was a possibility that maybe they were connected to his work. This thought paralyzed him. Okay, this is the one intense song in this playlist. Oh yeah, I get what you're saying, Sofifi. I would recommend checking I don't know, look into Polish queer groups. Maybe there is a neo-pronoun that might work for you know, there's gotta be non-binary Polish people, right? I bet they already did the work for you. There was a possibility that maybe they were connected to his work. This thought paralyzed him because he loved what he did. The idea that his passion could hurt him, take away a piece of him, that was enough to break his heart, could hurt him. Could hurt him, and that the only solution was for him to quit. Well, that was enough to break his heart. Yo, hell yeah, Siska. Siska says German has new pronouns too, and they're working to get them standardized. I love that. And yet there was something else. As Casey and Ava went back and forth, talking about the little things like Nana and the mailbox and the boxes outside the house, Adrian was still only looking down, trying not to look at the list. Trying not to look into the eyes of that shadow in the corner of his mind. A handful of words, a series of implications no one had even considered breaching. The very last item on the list. Are we crazy? The kicker for this episode 3. In the darkness of a room lay a lost soul. She stared at that unfamiliar ceiling of those 4 unfamiliar walls. This was her room. This one she had picked when they first got to the house. This one she had picked for herself. She had picked for herself, but seldom used, but seldom spent any time in it. She had most of her things in Adrian's room. It felt so weird to be there. She had most of her things in Adrian's room. Her clothes, her toilet. No, I don't feel like I have to list that, you know? It felt weird to be there in her room in the darkness. It felt so weird to have those hands all over her naked body. She stared, trying not to feel, trying not to give in to the part. Trying to not give in. Give in. Give in to the part of the struggle. I'm not allowed to read this part aloud. And I'm not allowed to read this part aloud on YouTube. I nearly forgot. This is not right. So you haven't read Berserk? No! No, I haven't read Berserk! I am aware of the fucked up shit that happens. I'm aware of the fucked up shit that happens in Berserk, though. Nomia says, I like this reading a not safe for work scene on YouTube song. Thank you. Sometimes this song sounds like I miss you. How much is there left of this freaking... I think I can read the rest of this. Okay, let's see if I can read the rest of this. I want to tell them, Ava shook her head, as though trying to snap out of a bad dream. The longest not safe for work scene in existence. You know that's not true. You know that's not true. Kitty, you have read smut. You know that's not true. You know that's not true. As though trying to snap out of a bad dream, she sat up, covered in sweat, Nana's hands still caressing her skin. As though struck by a physical blow, Ava felt a powerful clarity come to her mind. Is the pose not clarity? Wasn't there a description of Nana's face in this scene? I'll check it in 5 minutes, okay? There are 100 days of Sodom. This is like 5 minutes. You reference her mouth. Oh my god, give me a second, okay? So struck by a physical blow and NFL. Oh no, you were reading no? You were reading along, Nomia Victory? Let me read the fucking scene and then we can go back, okay? As a struck by a physical blow, Ava felt the powerful clarity come over her. This is only set on her. She knew that what she had to do. What her heart told her to do, but the path forward seemed to be covered in a dense fog. What do I tell them? Nana sat up, wrapping her arms around Ava. Both of them sat there, naked in the darkness, staring up to the familiar ceiling. This was their room. This was the room where it had always happened. It had been happening for a long, long time. Where it always happened. Where the two of them met. Where it had been happening for a long, long time. It's easy. Nana cupped Ava's cheeks between her hands, hot as embers, and guided her towards her lips. Just before they would kiss, another feather touched the floor. No, okay. Siska says I was reading along just to make sure it wasn't getting as dark as I thought. I would never. But you're really good at writing not safe for work. Thank you. I would never. Okay, if it was actually bad, real bad, I wouldn't fucking be reading it on YouTube. I wouldn't even show the text if it was bad. Hence what you mentioned, Berserk. Okay, I get it now. Again, I know like 2 things about Berserk, and one of them is the thing you're thinking of. Literally, I'm like, oh, holy crap, you're telling me the main character's a piece of shit? Anyways. So there's a reference to a mouth here. Let me double check earlier in this scene. There's a bunch of hands in there. Uh-huh. I wouldn't say that Guts is a piece of shit. A stronger word then. A stronger word. I think it mentions Nana's lips. I'm gonna do a search for lips. Let me just really quickly. This is Adrian. Ah. Thank you. Holy crap. Nomi spotted this lips right here. Nana asked, her voice dripping out of her lips, and down the side, her voice dripping out. Out, ooh. Well, just out of her, and down the side of Ava's naked chest. You know what? I like how guttural this sounds. And there's also a mention of Nana kissing Ava's lips, then her nose. I will say, it says that Nana kisses Ava, but it doesn't say with what, so... How hot she felt against Ava's skin. How hot she felt against Ava's. Please don't say guttural. Actually, don't say anything. Alright. Nana cupped Ava's cheeks between her hands, hot as embers, and guided her towards her face. Ooh. There was an emptiness there. Ooh. There was an emptiness there. One she sought to fill with the warmth of Ava's body. Just before they would kiss, just before they kissed, another feather touched the floor. Another mouthful of words. Nah. Her face, haha, got him. Alright, and that's episode 3, baby. We have resolved the issues with Casey. And now the party is working together to find out what the hell's wrong with them. But then, oh, holy shit, is there something wrong with Nana? Nah, it couldn't be. Cold open! Outside the window, the light of midday attempted to pierce through the kitchen curtains. I got you. No, Mrs. An emptiness there is one of those lines that will make people on the second read put the book down and put their head in their hands. There you go. The light of midday attempted to pierce through the kitchen curtains. The sky was bright and blue, contrasting against the LED white light of the interior. 3 little lost souls were busy at a different kind of work. A meeting over a few slices of pizza. There was a box sitting on the counter, though it wasn't the only one. Adrian and Casey, feeling playful all of a sudden, were sitting on the kitchen counter, taking their slices one bite at a time. And I will say, by the way, they're folding their pizza, by the way. They're folding the pizza to eat it, because there's American pizza and it's a little bit floppy, okay? And sometimes taking a bite out of someone else's slice. In between pizza and good drink, they went about checking some boring-ass boxes. This was a proper business meeting for the 3 of them. There were some papers on the kitchen island, and Ava was typing away at her laptop, but there were no investors on call, no pressure to make sales go up. They were meeting simply to address a topic they had all been looking forward to, for better and for worse. They'd been working at their latest game for quite a while. They'd gotten back into the flow of game development, and things were looking mighty good. It was this sudden rush of productivity, this ravished desire to see the game exist as a finished piece, that caused them to lose the better part of a few weeks. Although their life had become a pattern of working, eating, working, sleeping, and repeating that ad nauseum. They had arrived at that final leg of their journey, hence the pizza. They were treating themselves to a little moment to stop, think, reflect, and what was going to happen next. So, as I was saying, Casey said, with a mouthful of pepperoni, we've been making games back to back for half a decade. It should be back to back, honestly. God, that sounds wrong. We really need a serious vacation. I think we should go somewhere overseas. I mean, Adrian, did you want to visit Japan? Fucking Adrian's a fucking nerd, by the way. Adrian, aren't you a fucking weeb? It took a second for Adrian to realize the spotlight had fallen on him. He was busy looking at Ava. Sorry, I just realized. Sorry, just the idea of like an actual spotlight falls on Adrian. He was busy looking at Ava. There was something about her that didn't seem right to him. It wasn't just the distance between them, him and Casey on the counter while she was typing on the island. There was a larger space between them now. He wanted to breach that gap. He wanted her close, because he loved her. But then he wondered if he was thinking too much, projecting his own fears that he was slipping away. Projecting his own fears onto her. That's it, onto her. Maybe everything was alright. Maybe it was all in his head. Maybe they were crazy. Adrian didn't like how this thought process always arrived at the same final door, the one he didn't want to open. Yeah, I would love to go to Japan, Adrian said, his eyes unfocused. Then maybe we should do some planning. His eyes might as well have been as bright as the light bulbs above them. We have the money, we're releasing a game, we can afford to spoil ourselves. Hell, when we're going on a sabbatical, we can afford it. Isn't that just like a very long vacation? That's the idea, Casey narrowed her eyes. You know, people in the industry do this, right? They don't just grind from game to game. They actually, like, you know, take a break every once in a while. Come on, Ava, back me up on this. The spotlight fell onto Ava. Her fingers had stopped moving. She looked at what she had written. She stared at it intently, then deleted the whole thing. She shook her head, then started typing again. Ava, Adrian said, are you okay? You've been quiet all evening, all meeting. Hey, I caught the typo. Did you guys think we're doing the right thing? Ava's voice came so suddenly, so clear and focused, that it took the other 2 by surprise. First, there was that confidence, the way she just said it as though she had been readying that shot, lining up the crosshairs for an ungodly amount of time. When her shot finally rang out, it was clear it had missed the mark. Both Adrian and Casey looked at one another, unsure of what Ava had asked. She didn't extrapolate on what she meant, and so it was left to the other 2 to figure out the meaning. Do you mean the game? Adrian asked. I think we're doing good. I mean, you've been playing it. We all have. I think this is our best one yet, though I guess we might be a little too close. I think we're doing the right thing. Casey nodded, then added her own thoughts. I think the most important thing is that we don't repeat ourselves. I don't want people to say that we make the same game over and over. So we do different things every time. Sure, there's an overall, I guess you would call it, tone. So she's using quotation fingers here, by the way. Or aesthetic. Aesthetic. That all of our games share, but they're different. That's good enough for me. That's a fair point. Adrian rubbed at his chin. I always wonder if maybe we're too close to our own work to see if it's even good. I mean, I like the way we're making it. I don't particularly care if other people like it. Maybe we're not the best judges. Maybe... I think I see where it's coming from. Maybe we are the wrong people to be looking at our games critically. This is all very deep, Casey said, taking a huge bite out of her latest slice. But there's not much we can do. Whatever we make, people will react differently. The only right choice, at least in my opinion, is to create the game that feels right to us. This time Ava's voice was quiet, as distant as an island far away from the mainland. An island far away. Apostrophe in the word games? Create the game that feels right to us. Oh. Maybe we're the wrong people to be looking at our games at our games critically. Thank you, Naomia. This time Ava's voice was quiet. Island far away. Ava closed her laptop, looked over at her cold slice of pizza, but she could not force herself to eat. I am not sure. It'll all be okay, Adrian smiled. Though unbeknownst to him, there was a little bit of red sauce right on his cheek. He looked so cute and so foolish, so perfect in his own little way. Ava felt her heart quicken. She felt life fill her veins. She was still not sure. So how about that vacay? Casey said in sing-song. Should I start looking into hotels and stuff? We're going to need passports and a bunch of other stuff if we want to go to Japan. I think... Ava got up from her chair. She had not taken a single bite of pizza and her glass of soda was still full to the brim. We have time. Let's not rush into planning anything. I say we finish 12th night. Brainstorm the next idea, the basic idea for our next game. And then we can go on a vacation. We'll let the idea germinate in our minds while we are sunbathing in Cancun or whale watching in whatever whales hang out. In whatever whales hang out. There you go. Casey sighed. That seemed a lot less exciting than what she wanted to do. Though she could not argue with Ava. There was no reason to rush. The game was almost ready and it never took them long to come up with a new idea for a game. After all, there were boxes of papers and sketchbooks up in the attic! All their old ideas were up there. If they, for whatever reason, needed inspiration, they would find it in there. They would find it there. That was why Ava's plan didn't feel like prolonging the inevitable. There was no stopping them. The game would release. They would decide on the next idea. The game would release. They would search for a new idea and it would find them. New idea. It would find them. And then they would go on a vacation. They would go somewhere far, far away where work couldn't find them. Where the hours would not disappear into the glow of a computer screen. And soon, oh so soon, they would be free. Soon, oh so soon, they would leave that house. Let's go!
Act 1, Scene 1.
In a dark room, there's only a television screen. The glass is scratched, but the glow is strong. Let me read the first paragraph, okay? You stare deeply into the light, causing an influx of data to flow from behind the screen directly into your mind. The edges of that display become the edges of your vision. The boundaries of that... Is there a halogen bulb inside of TVs? Halogen bulb inside of TV. What bulb did old TVs use? It's a cathode ray tube. It's a cathode ray tube. He has a CRT. There we go. CRT, thank you. The edges of the display become the edges of your vision. The boundaries of that cathode ray tube become the edges of your consciousness. As you stare into the blinding light, you see disconnected boxes of text and sound. You hear a voice inside of you. A voice that is not yours. A voice that belongs to a stranger. Someone else staring into the blindness. Someone suffering in silence. Someone who loves these games. Someone just like you. One of the boxes is dark gray. The text is a mix of light blue and gray. There's a collection of numbers along the top telling something about this comment's ranking. Saying something about this comment's ranking. So you have to use an electron ray beam? Electron ray beam? Then why did it say cathode? I checked the first 2 results. You know what? On that TV tube, the boundaries of that... You know what? I want to highlight this to fix it next session. You know what? I'm going to highlight this. You know what? This is how far we got today. So I'm going to put a comment here. End of stream 2. How much do we focus for? I think it was 4 cycles. Was it 4 or 5 cycles? I'm not 100% sure how many minutes it was. I'm gonna assume it was 4 cycles. I think it was 100 minutes. You're telling me a cat hooted this ray tube? And with that, fellas, we have completed today's writing session. Yeah! Alright, fellas. Thank you for joining me for the section of the stream all about being creative. Thank you so much. I need to go use the bathroom real quick. I'm gonna pop one ad, and then I'm gonna be right back, okay? Thank you, Dallas. Thank you. That makes a little more sense, actually. I'm gonna go take a quick bio break. I'll be back in 1 minute, okay? Don't go anywhere. Beep boop. Alright, I'm back. Siska says, I think I need to say this, even though it's gonna make me look like a baby. I'm not used to reading Not Safe for Work, so when I got to that part, I was like, oh no, put it away, I'm not allowed to look at this. Ah! That's adorable. That's adorable. Siska! Siska's baby! Don't you all know Siska's baby? Alright, fellas. It's time for dailies. So, welcome to the segment of the stream where we play games we can only play today. Let us dive right in. Alright, fellas, welcome to Quirtle, where we do 4 Wordles at once, because it's the only way I can feel anything anymore. I'm gonna open with Rogue and then follow with Satin, my favorite opener. Ooh, that's Grant. It's Grant. Alright. Hugh Grant showed up on the stream. So that's easy. So O-N-A or I. We have scouted basically every single... Well, I haven't scouted O. With its scout O. So that means that O is the only letter here. I was hoping for Hugh Glory. Oh, well, I'm unfortunately not today. So I'm thinking that it's probably double O. Cocoon? No. You know what? I'm gonna scout Blimp. Because that gets so many more, like, letters. Okay, this is better now. So up top here we have R-I. R-I. And what? Krill? You think it's Krill? Huh? What the hell is... What is this? Oh, no. Frail. Oh, it's Frail. It's Frail. Good call. Good call, Ronnie. Calms? No, it's not Calms. There's no S. Drill? Could you imagine if it had been Drill? So, for this top area, we have A, L. There's an M in here somewhere. I'm not sure where the M goes. It's probably calmly? Hamley? You think it's Hamley? It's not Hamley. Whamley? Jamley? It's not Jamley. Manly? Holy shit, is it Manly? No. There's no N. There's no N. Good call, Kitty. You and I, my brain are synced. Okay, so clearly it's this, right? It's Damley? Damley? No. I like how Maxi says, you think it's Hamley? As if they're accusing us of having that idea. You think it's Hamley? What about... Oh, Madly? Oh, it's probably Madly. It's Madly. Good call, Nomia. Good call, Nomia.
Hey, boy.
So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 out of all the letters, so I'm gonna have to assume that it's like something stupid. It's nylon. It's nylon. You think I wouldn't know? You think I wouldn't know the word nylon? There you go. Boom. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Bingo!
Not even breaking a sweat. You think I wouldn't recognize the word nylon? You think I don't see a Y that doesn't go on the end of a word? And I'm like, oh no, gee, I guess I'm lost. I guess I'm gonna have to give up. Anyways. Welcome to Guess the Game, where we guess the game by guessing the game. This looks like a King Kong game. It looks really green though. A game in the jungle. Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie. It isn't. You're gathering... Is this Ori? Is this Ori? Is this Ori and the Blind Forest? Ori and the Blind Forest. Oh. A PS... Wait. Is this Ni no Kuni? Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. I looked at this rendering and I'm like, that's fucking Ni no Kuni right there. Ronnie being like, that's not it. No. I looked at this rendering and I'm like, that's Ni no Kuni, baby. That's a Ghibli looking ass, yeah. Alright, let's see all the ones that we missed, by the way. So, what game is this? This is a side-scrolling indie game. This is not inside. It doesn't look good enough to be inside. Ronnie says inside. I don't think it's inside, but I'm gonna put inside in there because Ronnie believes. This is an 83%. Is this fucking Donkey Kong 64? No. Is this Jet Force Gemini? No. It's a GameCube, Xbox. Oh, this is the game where you're a robot with gears, like Gear something. Don't say Gears of War, I swear to God. You play as a robot, okay? You're like a robot and you can like change your parts. Unless it's I don't think it's Time Splitters. It is that game. It's the game with this robot on the cover. What is it called? Oh my god. Oh my god, what is it called? Is it like Corpse? It's Corpse? You play as a robot. I always wanted to play this game. Hardcorp. No. Oh my god, it's a 2003 game. I know you! I always wanted to play you because you're like a robot and you customize your armor. No. This is not KOTOR. I assure you it's not KOTOR. Oh my god, what is this game? What is this game called? I mean, I'm not gonna look it up because it would be against, you know. Oh, look at this is an aesthetic that I love. Just being a robot, going around shooting other robots for pieces. The game was Metal Arms Glitch in the System. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. I wasn't gonna get it, but I knew what game it was. I just didn't know the name. Maybe if I had rented it from Blockbuster, I might have remembered. So this could be anything. This interior, this texture. Oh, that's fair. What's the name of that android? It's like everybody's favorite android from KOTOR. This is not Amnesia. Look at how sharp these polygons are. This is like PS2, PS1. PS2 maybe there's no warping in the polygons. Ronnie says Baldur's Gate 3 on my laptop. I will say, last time you were streaming, it looked really good. So, Tomb Raider 2. It's not Tomb Raider, by the way. There's some Tomb Raider looking ass, by the way. There's some Tomb Raider looking ass. Wait. Level 3? A PC game? A PC game with levels in the UI? Hack and slash fantasy? Who are you? Oh, it's gonna be like fucking Age of Conan Reckoning or something. It is gonna be Age of Conan. Oh my god. Age of Conan fucking Hyborian Adventures. It was Blade of Darkness. The most generic title for a game you have ever fucking heard. Siska says, shoutouts to all my fellow girlies with an angular butt. Alright, last one, by the way. Oh, come on. Come on, that's Pokemon Scarvio. We can see the map right there. It's anything on the Switch. This is Scarlet. This is Pokemon Scarlet. Huh? It's supposed to be hard. Come on. Easy peasy. All right. Let's do Pokedoku for the day. Welcome to Pokedoku, where we do Sudoku, but we do it backwards. A Dragon Water Pokemon. That's Gyarados Mega, by the way. They just made him Dragon? Okay, well, that's a great start. A water Pokemon that evolves by grade, by trade. You mean Politoed with the King Stone? A water G-Max. You mean Blastoise G-Max? Blastoise G-Max? An electric Pokemon that evolves by trade. You mean freaking the evolution of Electabuzz? Electivire? I love that Nomiya loves Scarvio. A normal Pokemon that evolves by trade. Oh, it's Porygon 2. No. Is it Porygon said? I don't remember. It is Porygon said, okay. A G-Max, what about Pikachu? What about Fat Pikachu? A G-Max form normal Pokemon. Okay, have you okay, well, what is it freaking Weenie Hut Junior Day? What is this? Maxi said. I always said. The thing is that like, I prefer saying Z instead of Z, because okay, all right. In Mexico, there's no fucking difference pronunciation between Z and S. It's pronounced the same fucking way. So when I came to the United States, I found that a lot of fucking Americans thought I was saying C, because I wasn't making it Z enough. And then I found that people from across the pond called it Z, and I'm like, that's so much better. I'll say Z instead, and that's just way easier. Electric Dragon? Oh, that's Sekrom. Dragon Normal? Oh, that's Drampa! There we go. What was the... Oh, it was Kingdra, Palkia, Draconovich, Walking Wake. Alright, welcome to Game Duel, where we guess games by guessing the games. Welcome to Guessing the Games. Can I guess the game by looking at the cover of this game? This is Max Payne. Sorry, it's the Fall of Max Payne. Oh my god. Is Max Payne 2 the Fall of Max Payne? I'm sorry. Can I guess the game by looking at the artwork? This is Legend of Dragoon. This is Legend of Dragoon. There you go. You think I wouldn't recognize this JRPG looking ass? You think I wouldn't recognize Legend of Dragoon? That was an MCR ass looking cover. Alright, what about Max Payne 2? Max Payne is Max Payne, Max Payne Max. Thank you. Will Smith, Will Smith, Will Smith. Can I guess a game by looking at tags? We have Cold, Trade, and Snipers. What about Escape from Tarkov? Crafting, Medicine, and Morality. A game with snipers and a morality system. I'm thinking. Okay, what if it's The Last of Us? The Last of Us. The Last of Us. The Last of Us. Barricade, Scavenging, Desperation. That could still be The Last of Us. Mass Effect? I mean, I'll try Mass Effect 2. Charity DLC, Night Rates, Autobiography. This is the game about the war in that country. What's it called? This War of Mine. Thank you. It's This War of Mine. Thank you. Thank you. Bingo. Shouts to my wife. Now let's guess the game. We're gonna guess the game by guessing the game. We have X number of guesses. I always open with mighty number 9. So, it is before 2016. It is not side view. It might be science fiction. It might be a platformer. So I'm thinking, I'm gonna get Nintendo out of the way, okay? If it's Nintendo, I wanna know as soon as possible. So let's go with a game that Nintendo was involved in, and also someone else was involved in. Before 2016. And that's gonna be a little bit harder, because Nintendo did not like to... It is gonna... okay, I'm thinking... It's, Oracle of Ages. Oracle of Seas of Ages. There you go. Okay, so... It is not Nintendo or Capcom, and it's not isometric. I meant for it to be this way, by the way. When will the game be Pong? You don't want it to be Pong. It is a single player only. It couldn't be Perfect Dark. Fatal Frame, says Ronnie. It is not fantasy, but it has science fiction elements in it. It's not Capcom, so it can't be Mega Man. It could be a role-playing. It's probably adventure. It's probably adventure. It's probably adventure. Okay, let's think of a third person. I want a third person or a first person. Well, first person games, it could be Sony. A first person game from Sony, they usually do first person multiplayer games. Today's game duel is Jump Guy on the Atari. How dare you? Are you spoiling the game duel? Rip. I mean, although I guess I won't do it tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm streaming on Nomia's channel. Oh, I should check Monhunt. Although Monhunt will not be, is not single player. I guess we can try Uncharted. Uncharted 1. Drake's Fortune. It is third person, first person. Between 2008 and 2015, it is on the PS3 and PS4. You're wondering about the future. I wonder, yeah. So, 2015. So, this is the year before... This is the year before Overwatch. What were we playing on a single player game before the... It could be any number of indie games. Third person, first person. I'm thinking a third person game that allows you to look down the barrel of the gun, right? It's not Conker's Bad Fur Day. That's much later. It could be Nuts and Bolts. Let's check on Xbox, okay? Actually, it can't be Xbox only because it's on PS4 and PS3. A third person... Oh, it's probably Lost... It's probably Lost Planet. Let's try Lost Planet 1. Lost Planet 1 does not have co-op. It did have co-op? It's also 2016. Okay. Dead Space. It could be Dead Space. It could be the original Dead Space. It is not EA. It is not Capcom. It is not Naughty Dog. I'll take one hint, please. The year's it's a 2014 third-person, first-person game. 2014. What came out in 2014? Freaking Skyrim? I don't think Skyrim was on the PS3. Destiny? Is Destiny... I'm gonna put Skyrim in here. It is 2014. Skyrim came out famously on 11/11/11. Never mind, you're right. First person, third person, virtual reality. I hate everything about this description. Nomia says 2014 was a bad year for me, Lamau. I don't remember anything that happened. Yeah, it's okay. You were you were little back then. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry, Nomia. I'm sorry. You walked into that. I'm sorry. Horror science fiction. It's a horror science fiction game with stealth. I was just born. It's true. We established that you were just born. No, it's okay because your parents sent you to the Fire Emblem Fates dimension where you aged up in the course of like 10 minutes. Wait. Is it The Sims 4? No. Dude, I'm choking over here. So it's not fantasy, it's not sandbox, it's not comedy. It's horror, survival, science fiction plus something else? Or just survival science fiction? 2014? It can't be Destiny because Destiny's a multiplayer game, Dale. Silent Hill Downpour? It could be Silent Hill Downpour. Is Konami on here? It's not on here. Shattered Memories? It could be The Room. I'm gonna just go with Shattered Memories, see if it's even the correct series. It is not. It is not even the correct... Oh, it's Climax Studio or Konami. Okay. It's either... I mean, I guess we could try The Room. No, but it's in one of these. You know what? Let's try The Room. It was Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes? Hold up. Ground Zeroes was on PS3? Huh? Alright, anyways, boo. I have 4 minutes left on the stream. Can we go from one movie to another movie? Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. Dead Man's Chest ahead. And Okja. What the hell's Okja? Okay, well, Tilda Swinton's here. Jake Gyllenhaal is here. Giancarlo Esposito is here. Do I recognize anyone else? No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. There's a lot of people in this movie. There's a lot of people in this movie. There's a lot of people in this movie. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. There we go, okay. So Tilda Swinton. Tilda Swinton, to me, she exists exclusively within the context of... Wasn't she in the Lord of the Rings movies? Hobbit, maybe? No? Tilda's... Oh! Guillermo del Toro! Maybe... Oh, she was in Endgame? Who the hell was she in Endgame? I don't know who you are, lady. Oh, she was the bald lady from Doctor Strange! She was the bald lady from Doctor Strange! There you go. Okay, that makes more sense. Tilda Swinton exists exclusively within the concept of the movie, the context of the movie, Constantine. Keira Knightley, who looks an awful lot like Natalie Portman in this photo. I'm thinking. Oh, dude! Okay, so I want someone who's been in a movie with Keanu Reeves. I need someone who's been in a movie in or around Keanu Reeves. That's the only way we're gonna get out of here. Love you, kitty. Have a lovely rest of your day. Take care. Take care, love. Bye-bye. Aren't you the guy from the Thor movies? You are! Okay, well, that takes care of that problem then. Okay, alright, fucking, we go from here to Chris fucking Hemsworth, who was in Doctor Strange. There you go, alright. Okja. No, Mrs. I've never seen the movie. The fastest one was Johnny Depp to Radio Man to Tilda Swinton. Okay. And with that, fellas, I'm done for today. My good friend Ronnie is live right now. Please consider checking out their stream. Here's the link. Boop. Nomia, are you streaming today, Nomia? I know you're streaming tomorrow. New cats! We have new cats? We have new cats? Dude! New cats! Yo, let's go, Ronnie. So excited for new cats. Oh yeah, Nomia's doing Fashion Dreamer today. Nomia will be streaming Fashion Dreamer at 4 p.m. Please consider checking out their show. And with that, I'm out of here. Please go check out my friends. I love you all. Have a lovely, lovely rest of your day. I will be back tomorrow on Nomia's stream at Nomia's usual streaming time playing Dark Souls. Nomia has to make their way out of Blighttown and then they get to beat the game. They have rang both of the towers they need to do. And now all that's left for them to do is just to walk over into that fortress they won.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And with that, I'm out of here. Have a lovely, lovely rest of your day. And take care. Bye-bye. Beep boop. I do want to say thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this stream, please consider leaving a like if you haven't already. And leave a comment when the bot is up. All you gotta do is just leave the screen open and just refresh. And tell me, what were you up to this last weekend? Take care. Have a lovely rest of your day. And I'll see you all tomorrow on Nomia's stream. Take care. Beep boop.